The Louie Tee Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee? Welcome to the Command Post Game Live. You know who it is. Yesterday was a fun day. And I was glad that I could share it with you guys. Took my son to the Commanders' lone preseason home game against the Miami Dolphins. I did a little blog that I posted earlier this morning. Shout out to everybody that commented, man. I showed him your comments. He loved it. And he's like, I'm just like you now, Daddy. So it was really cool. So shout out to everybody who watched the video, supported, and left a comment. Went out, enjoyed the game. And you guys know, first and foremost, that I'm here after every single Commanders game. Doesn't matter, preseason, when, the game is played, it can be over at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be here with y'all. So if I'm not here post game, something's obviously up. And hell, you guys remember when he was actually born in the hospital. I did a video post game of the Raiders game back in 2021 from the hospital. You could hear the monitor beeping in the background for those of you who have been here long enough. So I don't miss a game. And usually I don't miss a game with you guys. But as you know, I usually don't go to games. So I wasn't able to do a video yesterday. So we're going to make up for lost time and do it today. Had a chance to come home, watch the game on television. I feel like there's a newfound respect for going to the games. I haven't been to a game in such a long time. And the last time that I went to a game and actually watched a game live, I wasn't doing this. So it's different now. My eyes are trained differently watching. And I will say it's pretty cool watching it live. And when you have a great view and you see everything, and I was sitting literally midfield right in front of the action, so I could see everything clearly. You can really gather a lot being there live, but there's nothing like seeing, the game if you're studying it like I do at home, because while I gathered a lot of information, you can see things on the sidelines, you can see guys. Like, the one thing I can say that being there live that you don't see at home is when you're at home, you get the tight shot of the offensive and defensive lines, the quarterback, running back, etc. You don't get to see what's going on down the field until the ball's thrown. If the ball's not thrown, you have no idea what's going on back that way. When you're there, like the Sam Hartman interception, for instance, you can see everything. Like, guys were open, and he just airmailed it, right? That's the thing you can't see. When Ethan Kaliak-Manis is taking a sack, you can look down the field and you can see what he's seeing or what he's not seeing, right? Conversely. And so there's a different level of understanding. There's a different level of what you're able to gather when you're there in person versus at home. But to be able to go back, watch it, hit the rewind button, watch it again, hit the rewind button, watch it again, because that's what I did the opening possession of the game, especially on the offensive line. I need to know what everybody's doing. I need to see what Julian Good-Jones is doing. I need to see what Chris Paul is doing. I want to watch what Brandon Coleman is doing. And in order to do that, I got to be able to hit the rewind button, hit the 10-second button, go back, hit the 10-second button, go back, hit the 10-second button, go back, and see all three of those guys and what they did on that particular snap. Why was there pressure on this play? Oh, okay, it was Trent Scott. And that's what you have the ability to do at home, whereas when you're at the stadium, unless you're watching it simultaneously on your phone, which I don't know how the hell you would manage to do that because the Wi-Fi in the stadium is trash. But whatever the case may be, I was able to come home, watch the game over again. And so took a few notes. I didn't have to take a lot of notes because everything's up here now, like from the game last night being there. And I pretty much told you everything in the vlog if you watched that. So I don't really need to go over those things. Normally in a preseason game, I take vigorous notes and I come through and we talk about it. But I already did that basically with the vlog. So what I want to do is talk about little pockets of the game. I want to talk about certain performers, some standouts, some guys that were not so great. And then, give you a rookie rundown. So all 6 of the rookie draft picks. Talk about some other notables that are guys that are undrafted, that we were really excited to see how they performed. And then the kicking battle, I want to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about some injuries. So kind of give you just the skeleton of what to expect today. So I want to start off the show by talking about the opening kickoff, right? I told you I'm so anxious to see who's going to be out there for the Commanders. We did not win the toss. So Jake Moody kicked the football off to the Dolphins, but the Dolphins did score in their opening possession. So we got to see and like I told you guys, there was a chance that if we lost the toss, you wouldn't see who we were going to put back there on kickoffs at all, because the Dolphins scored on that open possession. They didn't score again the rest of the game. So had they not scored on that opening possession, had they gone for it on 4th down and not gotten it, there's a chance we would have not seen who they would have put back there on kickoffs. It didn't matter because they didn't put anybody of note back there anyway. Even though Luke McCaffrey played in this game and they could have easily put him back there on kickoffs, they didn't. And I always talk about why they always bring back River Craycraft. For this particular reason, River Craycraft does everything for them on special teams from a return standpoint during the preseason. They don't want to put their punt returner back there, Jalen Lane. They always put River Craycraft back there. They don't want to put clearly Luke McCaffrey back there, at least not this week. Maybe he'll get back there next week when the starters are out there on the field. But we got Jerome Ford and River Craycraft. Those 2 guys aren't making the football team. Those 2 guys aren't making the football team. So they weren't trying to disclose or put their, guys at risk. And maybe it's more so they don't want to put them at risk behind guys who are blocking for them, who aren't going to be on this team from a special team standpoint. Most of the special teams players played last night, though, with the exception of maybe 3 or 4 guys that are core starters that, also play on special teams. For the most part, most of the guys that are playing special teams played last night. So sucked that we didn't get to see, more guys in the return game. But that said, Dolphins won the toss, elected to receive, and our second team defense was out on the field first. And I think we pretty much nailed who was going to play and who wasn't going to play. I told everyone that I didn't think they were going to put the corners out there. Personally, I think we have overblown the Mikey struggles in camp. I've said this already. We're overblowing it in terms of the way they view it. I don't know if we're out of pocket for our assessment of what's going on with Mikey. I think we have enough information to feel like he's not playing well. And while he did have an interception during the joint practice, doesn't make up for the fact that he has been consistently beat this summer. But they view Mikey as a key cog. They don't view Mikey as a guy, bordering on the verge of being on the bench like we do. Again, it'll help when Trey Amos comes back. We'll have a better assessment of what the cornerback position is. But it still feels like some form of Mikey, Amik, and Trey Amos as your starters. It doesn't feel like we're going to see Rasul Douglas infiltrate that anytime soon. Not to say that he won't at some point, but right now it still feels like some combination of those 3 guys are going to start, if not all of them, depending on what personnel they come out in. So I'll be honest, I was a little shocked to not see Mikey out there. I didn't think they would put him out there, but I was shocked that they didn't. Because in my mind, I'm like, I know how this group operates. I don't think they're going to put him out there, but I still said he needs work. So I thought that would supersede the whole notion of, oh, he's good. He played a bunch of reps in the game yesterday. but that's how they decided to play it. I was really surprised that we got no Jeremy Reeves at all. Like Nick Cross, fine, right? Like I thought he wouldn't play, but Jeremy Reeves was a shocker too. Like Mikey not playing, disappointed. I shouldn't say shocked because I thought they would not play him, but disappointed is the right word, not shocked. Shocked does apply to Jeremy Reeves. For him to just get the complete night off was crazy to me. It's not like this guy's an established starting safety in this league. It started for 3 years. Like, what are we doing right now? You know, Mikey's a 3-year starter here. You know, it may be 1 year he was starting nickel. The next year, he was starting nickel both years, right? He started week 1 as a rookie nickel, season 2, week 1 as a nickel last year. So Mikey's been a starter for now 3 years. So you want to give him the night off, fine. Jeremy Reeves has never been a starter in this league a day in his life, and you're giving him the night off is crazy, right? Now, it'd be one thing if you were giving him the night off because of his special teams prowess. Cool. This guy's a starter on defense now. Like, he should be out there. Just like Chris Paul and Brandon Coleman were out there because they need the reps. So does Jeremy Reeves. That's crazy that he had the night off, but whatever. So no Mikey, no Revo, no Cross. You knew none of the guys up front. We already had talked about none of the guys on the D-line were going to play. No Kinlaw, no Payne, Owe, KC45. None of those guys were going to play. So that wasn't a surprise. We knew Sonny was going to play. We knew Leo. I thought Leo was going to be out. So that I was surprised. I remember I kept saying, we're going to see who's going to be next to him. It was Leo. I didn't expect that. But Sonny was out there. That was to be expected. So let's talk about that. First and foremost, in case you were keeping tabs, Sonny wore the green dot. So while he was out there, he was the chief communicator. I think that is important to note because there had been a lot of, conversation about whether or not Leo would be. And, Leo said what he said earlier on the NFL Network about him being a mic and calling, the defense, things of that nature. It was Sonny Styles with the green dot, being the chief communicator, getting everybody lined up. So that was confirmed. We had already been told that by Candy Waller and others that, Frankie is your green dotter when he's on the field. And, in this particular instance, Frankie was not. So your de facto green dot then goes to Sonny Styles. All right. He becomes the de facto green dot wearer. So I thought the two of them were solid. They weren't put in a lot of positions. And again, this was a vanilla defense. We weren't super aggressive. You saw a couple of blitzes off the edge with slot guys, but nothing really up the middle, nothing too aggressive with the backers. It was a lot of dropping. Even the edge rushers were dropping into coverage. I saw a lot of Josh Josephs dropping on that first drive, not being super aggressive coming after the quarterback. So gave Malik Willis a lot of time to throw. And then when they did just rush forward, we didn't do a good job of getting pressure on the quarterback. We'll talk about that here in a second. But I thought Sonny did a good job of taking on blockers. He was super physical. When you look at how he played in those about 8 or 9 snaps, super physical, taking on guys. One time he pushed a dude over the pile, which you don't want to, do consistently because they will call a penalty on you for doing that. But I mean, he was just really physical. One time he shed and he got to the ball carrier and got him on the ground. So I just thought super physical, did a great job of reading his keys. And, so on one bootleg where Malik Willis got outside the pocket, he saw that it was boot, got back into his drop. And I thought he did a really good job. All in all, Leo Chanel, same thing, kind of not as aggressive as I would like to see him attacking the line of scrimmage. And some of those runs that pierced the first wave of defenders, I thought him and Sonny could have done a better job of attacking the line of scrimmage a little bit faster so that those linemen couldn't get up to them and create a little bit of a crease at that second level. But ultimately, I thought Leo did a good job of reading his keys as well, getting back into, pass drops, doing a good job of taking away those underneath targets, guys that were sitting down right over the football, little shallow crossers, things of that nature. I thought they did a solid job with those. Again, They could have been a little bit better attacking the line of scrimmage, but it was really vanilla. They weren't doing much. And so with them not having the full complement of guys in front of them to keep them clean, it wasn't the most ideal situation for them. But I didn't really feel any type of way about their performance. Thought they were solid. Think we'll get a better feel for them next week. I don't think you're going to see anything different in terms of aggressiveness from a play calling standpoint. I think you're going to see much of the same, actually. But I think you'll see it played better because we'll have better players on the field, if that makes sense. Speaking of playing better, no pressure from Joshua Josephs or Javonte Jean-Baptiste. We'll get into Joshua Josephs a little bit later on when we get to our rookie rundown. But I was disappointed in that opening possession, the lack of pressure. There were times where we rushed for off the edge, two off the edge, and then some interior guys, and we just didn't win. And Malik Willis had all day to throw back there, and I thought that there was some good bull rushes from Josephs. We'll get into him. I'll save that for when we get to the rookie rundown. I thought Javonte had a couple of solid rushes. Thought he got held on one play that didn't get called, but there just wasn't any real pressure on that opening possession. And then they didn't do a great job of getting to the football in the run game, defeating blocks. You hear Durante talk about defeating blocks, tackling. I didn't think we did that up front on that opening possession. Too many times Achane got through the line. Ollie Gordon got through the line. I thought we were getting on those first two possessions, even though they didn't score in the second possession, we were able to get a fourth down stop. I thought we were getting pierced up front too many times. I did not like the way that our D-line was playing, and it hurt our linebackers because the D-line was getting blocked so easily. Guys were climbing to the second level, getting to our linebackers, and I didn't like what I was seeing there. And some of it was lack of pressure from the edges with JJB and Josephs. Some of it was interior lackluster performances by guys like Barber, Tuttle, and Newton in particular. I thought they targeted Newton. Really, I thought Shy Tuttle had a tremendous night. But when they ran the football early on those first two possessions in particular, they were targeting Johnny Newton. They were running to his side. He wasn't getting off blocks. And same with Barber. Barber came alive a little bit later in the game, but they were targeting. And those guys are somewhat undersized. Like Barber's a, undersized defensive tackle. So is Newton. So you get why running at them would make sense. And again, I don't know if they were intentionally running at these guys. Again, no one's game planning for preseason games. So they're not like, hey, anytime we see 50 or 95 on the field, let's run at them. It just happened to be on the field at the same time, and we were getting gashed. It makes sense. Those are two undersized defensive tackles. I thought we were really hurt on the interior on that opening possession and even into the second possession until they were able to, get a false start penalty. That false start penalty doesn't happen. And I will say on that play where the false start happened, Joshua Josephs was in the backfield, and I don't think he was in the backfield because it was false start and guys stopped. I think he beat his guy to the spot. He was in the backfield, and that was going to be a tackle for loss. But ultimately, I thought the interior was soft early, and there was no pressure on the edges. So it was collectively up front. It was pretty much a disappointment. When you talk about the secondary on that first possession, the first two possessions, really, but the first one when everyone was out there as a unit, when you had Fabian Moreau, when you had Rasul Douglas out there, Quan Martin, and Will Harris. And then they threw in Antonio Hamilton, Sr. I thought it was solid play. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Gave up some chunk plays in zone at the deep corner route that should have been caught. I don't know what the receiver Douglas was doing and how he managed to step out of bounds with no one even remotely close to him. Should have been an easy, 17-yard gain or so on a corner route. Just soft coverage there. But he stepped out of bounds, so it didn't count. It was incomplete. But I thought that they were physical. Quan had a stick where he came up and scooped up the running back and put him down. You always see Will Harris flying around. I thought that Fabian Moreau had a good tackle on the opening catch to Malik Washington, hit him as soon as he caught the football. So I thought they were, solid. I didn't have any real complaints. I thought the pass interference one-hand grab by Douglas was actually OPI. He was literally grabbing Antonio Hamilton's jersey. Like, how they called that on Antonio Hamilton Sr. is crazy, because literally he didn't initiate any of that contact. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is we didn't get it done with that second unit against the Dolphins' first team offense. We didn't get it done. And that was disappointing, because I didn't care that it was their first team. I thought our second team was supposed to be good enough to be able to get those guys off the field. They had opportunities. They got them to third down a couple of times, couldn't get off the field. Really disappointed in that opening possession. And I also was really disappointed in the amount of yards they gave up on the ground. You're going to give up some pass plays. Some things are going to happen. Got to be more consistent on the ground, and they weren't. So was disappointed in that opening drive by the second team defense. And then we didn't see a lot of those guys after that. We didn't see Leo. We didn't see Sonny again. We didn't see Rasul after that. We didn't see Fabian Moreau after that. So they started to really clean house on a lot of those guys, getting them out of the game. You conversely go to the second team offense and what they did on their opening possession. Starting offensive line from left to right. Brandon Coleman at left tackle, Chris Paul at left guard, Julian Good-Jones at center, Trent Scott at right guard, and Andrew Wiley at right tackle. So everything there was expected except right tackle. I thought they'd play Josh Connolly Jr. I really did. I told you, I said, everyone should play on that offensive line except Sam Cosmi. That's the guy that I knew they weren't going to play, because they've already given him vet rest days. So if you're doing that for a guy after a padded practice, you're definitely not going to play him in the game. So knew Cosmi wasn't going to play. Was really expecting them to put the second-year right tackle, Josh Connolly Jr., out on the field. Similar to Mikey, he needed the reps, and they didn't put him out there. Now, the Dolphins didn't put Chop Robinson on the field either. So for what it's worth, he probably wasn't going to get the type of work that he needed to get anyhow. But I still, destroy somebody. Put somebody, whoever they put in front of you, you destroy them. You erase that guy. You block him out like the sun, and you keep it pushing, right? So that group I thought was okay, right? I thought Coleman blocked really well. Thought he did a really good job. Chris Paul, couple of things. Man, is he good as a pass protector? Really good. I worry about him in the run game. And so they had a play where he had to pull, and he didn't make it to his landmark. He got beat to the spot, blew up the play, and Fat Man ended up having a fight, I think, just to lose a yard, maybe, or two. It was easily like a 4-yard loss if he doesn't fight his way back towards the line of scrimmage, because Chris Paul basically got beat to the spot, and the play got blown up because of it. I just worry about him in the run game, because he's got to move. And again, this offense is predicated on offensive linemen being able to get to certain landmarks and win. And if you can't do that, it's going to hurt the run game. That's what I worry about Paul. And that's why I felt like the competition was legitimate between him and Brandon Coleman, because Coleman can move. Paul struggles in that avenue, even though he's dropped 20 pounds. I always talk about how even when somebody loses 50, 60 pounds, they still move like those 50, 60 pounds exist. It's just something about that, right? So you could drop the 20, feel lighter, but you still might move like you heavy, and feels that way still with him. Julian Good-Jones, he was all right. He didn't have any F-ups. There was no bad snaps. He didn't get bullied necessarily. I thought he was solid. I got no complaints. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. The right side was atrocious, especially Trent Scott. The first play of the game where Mariota has to vacate the pocket immediately, that's Trent Scott. Immediately, Trent Scott gets beat, and now he's got to go. And he had Traylon Burks. It's unfortunate. Even a better throw from Mariota on the move, and Burks is able to adjust, and it's a catch. It's a pretty lousy throw by Mariota. Given the circumstances, he was able to kind of step up. It was a one-footed throw, but you expect him to be able to get more on it than that. Then Mariota on the next play gets crushed, but completes the pass to Diami. Actually, it's 2 plays later because they had a run. And it's a beautiful corner route, stands in the pocket tall, takes the hit, delivers the football. But I think he got hurt on that play because on the next play, I want to say it was a handoff. That's the play Chris Paul kind of got beat to the spot on, and Mariota just went down. And I'm always nervous when it's a non-contact injury. Didn't seem like it was much, like in terms of, is it a serious injury? Doesn't seem like it is one, but you just never know. You just never know. My guess is he's not seriously injured, but if he wasn't, after the game, DQ spoke and addressed the media. When they asked about him, he could have just said, oh, he just had the wind knocked out of him, but he was good. He could have gone back in, but we just held him out. That's what you want to hear. We didn't hear that. We heard we'll reevaluate him along with all the other guys who weren't able to play in this game on Sunday and give you an update the best we can. It sounds like it could be something a little bit more serious, because why else would you need more time to evaluate? You already know what's wrong with him, right? He went in the back. I mean, he came out of the game. I'm pretty sure you checked him. We'll see if anything. Mariota gets hurt every year. This is the story of his career in the NFL. His first year here, he played 1 possession against the Jets in that game, that Jaden Daniels, first game of his NFL career, his debut. Mariota played 1 possession and got hurt. Didn't play the rest of the preseason. Last year, Mariota got hurt in the preseason or in camp and didn't play in the preseason at all. Got into the regular season and got hurt multiple times. Over in Madrid, he got hurt and got hurt against the Eagles and was done for the rest of the season. And so this guy is always hurt. Now he's hurt again, right? So we'll see. That's what I said. At some point, you just want to be done with the Marcus Mariota song and dance, even though I like him as a backup quarterback. But at some point, you want to just be able to have a different guy. Maybe it's Ethan Kaliak-Manis. Who knows? So the second team offense had a little something going in. The Mariota injury happens, and that pretty much killed it. Like once Sam Hartman came in, that drive was going to stall out, and it did. Hartman had a bootleg. I thought he could have tried to get it to, I want to say it was Burks coming across the field. I might be wrong about that, but instead he tucked in and tried to run and only picked up like a yard. And then on third down, he had an incomplete pass. And we know he'll get a ball batted down in a heartbeat with Sam Hartman because he's a short quarterback. He's a shorter guy. So that drive ended at around the 41, 42-yard line. I was like, feel like kicking this one with Drew Stevens? Nah, he didn't feel like kicking it with Drew Stevens. So really disappointed that we didn't see any deep field goals from Drew Stevens because there were 2 opportunities, that first possession and then that possession that I talked about on my vlog, where I'm like, come on, bro. You were at the 45. You're up 17-7. You're dominating this game. It's the preseason. Who cares? Try it. But clearly, and I have a theory on why DQ didn't try any of those field goals. We'll get to that when we get to the kicking battle with those 2 kickers. Let's get to some guys in this game that deserve to be mentioned individually and singled out, whether good or bad. Start with Sam Hartman. So we knew he was going to get the first shot at playing in this game after Marcus Mariota, if he were to play, and Mariota did play. He got hurt, so Hartman had to come in probably just slightly sooner than he would have. I think Mariota was one and done anyway. So no matter how that possession ended up, they had already gotten a first down. It ended 2 plays later like it ultimately did. you were going to see Hartman anyway. So I don't think he came in that much earlier than they had prepared for, but he still got in there a little bit sooner. First two possessions were awful. The interception, and he had some good throws. That's the bad part. That's the part that sucks about it is he had some good throws at Hartman, on the button to some in-breaking, routes to receivers where they didn't have to do anything but literally open up their arms, let the ball hit their chest, and then squeeze. Like, it literally was right there. So he made some really good throws, but those throws were overshadowed by the mistakes and how bad that interception was. And then another one that should have been picked off in the end zone where he threw it like literally behind his receiver right to the defender. Those types of throws are the ones that get you saying, all right, got to get Sam Hartman the hell out of here. But I thought the third possession, he battled and took him down the field, made some good throws, and ultimately led him to the touchdown, Robert Henry Jr. run. And then right before the half, had some good throws there and led us to another touchdown right before half to pretty much put the game away. That gave us the 17-7 lead at the intermission. So it was up and down for Sam Hartman. He had his good moments. He had his not so good moments. For me, with Sam, it really just boils down to a lack of consistency. Like, he's a guy that is just so inconsistent. One time you're seeing him, he's making this excellent throw right on the button to Jalen Lane, and you're like, okay, all right, I see you. And then the next time he's got De'Ami Brown open inside the 15-yard line, and he airmails it right to the safety, and you're just like, bro, what the F was that? And so you get excited because there's a great throw there to one of the receivers, and you're like, damn, that shit was gorgeous. And then you're in the end zone on an outbreaking route, and he throws the ball inside, and it should have been picked off, and you go, Sam, bro, you stink, man. So the door is wide open. To me, it was always open, but it just feels like it's wide open for Ethan Kaliak-Manis to walk through if he wants to. And we'll get to him a little bit later on. But Hartman is a guy that I feel like the time's kind of running out for him. Can't keep having these types of performances and expect them to just be cool with it. That's why they drafted Ethan Kaliak-Manis. Robert Henry Jr., one of the standouts from this game. He was really good. Really, really, really good. Super impressed with what I saw from him. And I knew he was going to be impressive. I told you guys, there's something to this guy. The only thing he doesn't have is, true top-end speed. But even that being said, he did a good job of turning the corner on the touchdown run and getting, capturing the edge and getting into the end zone. I thought he was decisive in his runs. I thought the thing that showed up on film was the agility, the sweet feet, the ability to string cuts together. You saw that last night. So that wasn't a surprise. Him turning the corner was a bit of a surprise to me because didn't think he had that in him. And him returning punts, didn't think that was something that was in his repertoire. Didn't know that he had that in his tool belt. So the more you can do, the better off you are. But I thought just from a consistency, dynamic playmaking ability standpoint last night, Robert Henry Jr. was fantastic. He's trending upward right now. Same can be said for Shy Tuttle. It wasn't pretty when the first group of defensive linemen were in the game, and Tuttle was a part of that, but they weren't really running the ball his way. They were kind of running away from him. And once he got in there, like full time, I want to say it was that third possession, he started playing a lot more. They couldn't block him. He was just destroying blocks, getting to the ball carrier. Block destruction, ball carrier. And so he was a guy that, definitely stood out. I think Johnny Newton and Ricky Barber, true lies in my barber, combined on the sack of Quinn Ewers on fourth down when he tried to scramble for the first down. It wasn't a sack. It was a tackle short of the first down sticks. But Shy Tuttle was just around the football. And you say Shy City, and you say Shy Tuttle, Shy City. Shy Tuttle, I thought he played square. No, I'm playing. I thought he really did play physically, though. He played a physical brand of ball. He destroyed blocks, got to ball carriers. I thought Shy Tuttle was outstanding. I thought he was the best interior defensive lineman on the field last night for the Commanders. You could argue for both teams. You could make the argument for both teams. Jartavius Martin. Last night's performance was worthy of a Quan, but it's a preseason game. So we're sticking with Jartavius for now. But we saw flashes of why he was a second-round pick last night. You saw the aggressive feel of a hole where he comes up and dumps the running back. You saw the interception and the range on that play. Yes, it's an overthrow. Yes, it wasn't a hard, complicated play to make, but he still had to get there and make it. And it was all the way to the sideline. So he had to haul ass over there, catch it, get his feet in bounds. And he did that. So I thought overall, Quan was physical. He was smart. He was by the football, made a play when, the play was there to be made. Thought it was a really strong effort from Quan Martin, one of the better ones we've seen from him in quite some time. And again, it's a preseason game. Take it with a grain of salt. But it was good to see him look like he gained a little bit of his confidence back. I always talk about guys losing confidence. Felt like at times Quan would be lacking that sense of, I do this. Looked like he had gotten some of that back. So, and that could be Durante. That could be the new scheme. Could be the threat of not making the roster. It could be a lot of things. Antonio Hamilton Sr., another guy that I thought really played well. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Had a hit on a receiver right before half that dislodged the football. Had a massive hit on special teams on kickoff return. Thought he played sticky coverage, even though, like I said, the OPI or the DPI on him on the first possession on the one-handed catch by Caleb Douglas. Thought that was OPI, not DPI. But ultimately, you say what you want. 11-year, vet, a guy that's like 33, 34 years old. I get it. Not ideal, but like, you're going to cut him more likely than not. Definitely a practice squatter, without question. Not even up for debate right now. Kane Medrano. And I'll just say this about Antonio Hamilton Sr. They love him on special teams too. And he had a big hit last night. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Anyway. Kane Medrano. I thought Kane played really well. And I'm mad he didn't pick that one pass off, but that's a good read by Kane to undercut that route. First of all, getting good depth, reading the quarterback's eyes, have it take you to the football, and then undercutting the route. Only thing he didn't do was catch the football. That's a beautiful play. It would have been the best play by far. We had 3 interceptions in the game, and none of them were difficult interceptions. They were all footballs thrown right to the defender. His was, he had to go get it. It would have been the most impressive turnover forced by far in a way if he had gotten that one, off. But nonetheless, I thought he, shot his gun. And that was one of my biggest issues with him last year is shoot your gun, bro. Attack downhill. Don't wait. Go be great. Attack. He was doing that, getting guys on the ground at or behind the line of scrimmage. Thought he had a really active game. Jordan McGee. I thought after maybe Shy Tuttle, probably even had it because he had the say Jordan McGee was probably your second or third best performer defensively. He was just flying around. He looked to be playing fast and free in the preseason game against the Dolphins. I don't know if I've ever seen Jordan McGee play fast and free before. He was flying around. And I love to see it. I love to see it. Any talks of Jordan McGee not making this team are wildly unfounded. And the fact that he was out of there probably prior to halftime, if not definitely post halftime, lets me know he's cool. He's safe. He looked good though. Really, really, really good. Let's get to the rookie rundown. And we'll talk about all the rookies that were drafted and a couple of undrafteds. We start with Sonny Styles. So overall on the night for him, I thought it was a solid performance. Nothing really to write home about. Wasn't out there very long. Again, as I said earlier, played extremely physical. Did a good job of taking on blocks. Not as good a job as I would like to see at shedding and getting off of those blocks, or as they like to call it, block destruction. I think he could be better at that. But thought he did a good job of reading his keys, getting proper depth, forcing the quarterback to turn down certain options. So ultimately, I'd say it's a B minus type of performance for Sonny Styles. Nothing too crazy. Antonio Williams. Whew. That was crazy watching my guy Tone struggle over there on the sideline. So we were sitting behind the Commanders bench. So we could see what was going down on the sidelines. And he was standing right by the coach with his helmet on the entire time. The offense was on the field, waiting for the coach to, push him out there, tell him to play, relay this to the quarterback, yada, yada, yada. And it just didn't happen. And he was running up and down the sideline. He was playing catch with one of the, sideline guys to try to stay engaged and ready for when his number was called. I finally just, because I seen him just doing all of this different stuff to try to get ready, I finally just turned on the camera and recorded him. And sure enough, you see him simulating routes and the hesitation. And you just realize that this is a situation he really ain't never been in before. Probably was one of the best players in Pee Wee. Probably was one of the best players middle school, Pop Warner. Probably was one of the better players in high school. Definitely one of the best players at Clemson. He didn't have to wait to get on the field very often is what I'm getting at. And so he was just chomping at the bit. He finally got in with just a shade over 8 minutes to go in the second quarter, which is way too long for me. He was open on a couple of routes where he just didn't get the football. But ultimately, you had the Sam Hartman throw that was low and behind him that he didn't catch. You had Sam Hartman throw into double coverage that was incomplete. And that was basically his night with Sam. As soon as Ethan Kaliak-Manis came in, first play action, out route, Antonio catches it beautifully, gets his feet down. We ball. I think Antonio was solid, but I'll be honest with you. That was a bit of an underwhelming debut for me. Really was expecting more. I thought they would target him more. I thought they would be overtly trying. You look around the NFL, you look at the young guys, and not every one of the young guys played early with their quarterbacks, but there was a intent to get some of these young guys the football. I thought we were going to see that same intent with Antonio Williams, and it just didn't feel like there was any intent in getting him the football. If he got it, he got it. If he didn't, they threw a wide receiver screen to Jalen Lane. That was intent. Let's get Jalen Lane a catch. See what he can do with it after the catch. There was intent behind that. I don't feel like there was any intent until Ethan got in the game. That first play action fake felt designed for Antonio and Ethan to connect, and it was a beautiful connection. And I'm it only took until midway through the third quarter for that to happen for Antonio, for him to get his first catch, which is crazy. Should have again, I thought he would be a fixture early with some of the starters getting mixed in, and that's that DQ pecking order bullshit where, you know, we got to make these rookies wait, and you got to wait your turn. We got all this depth, and we got all these quality players at receiver, that sort of thing. And I'm just like, I hear you, but I ain't listening. Like, I need my guy out there. It's ridiculous. So, underwhelming debut for Antonio Williams. Doesn't change the way I feel about him. Doesn't change how I think he's going to play this year. Just thought I was going to see more from him in the first preseason game. Joshua Josephs, for all of the hype, and I'm guilty as charged. I was hyping this dude up before this game and what I thought he was going to do. And, oh, he's going to have a sack. He's going to have a tackle for loss and this, that, and the third. Super disappointed. Of all of the draft picks, all 6 of them, no, I'm not. I'm disappointed in him the most. I'm disappointed in him the most because he got out there with this, you know, starting group of the game and had a ton of reps, which I knew he would. I said that's part of the reason why I'm excited for him, is because he's going to play more than any of these other guys for the most part. And he did in this particular game, but it wasn't great. Here's what I will say that I noticed watching him, because I keyed in on him while I was at the game, is that he does a great job in the bull rush right now. His bull rush is problematic. He's driving guys back. Now, he does not finish the rep with the bull, you know, his bull rush. The tackle eventually is able to sit down and anchor almost at the apex of the rush. But that tackle backs up 2 or 3 steps. Then he kind of catches himself, sits down. What I noticed with Josephs is he doesn't use his hands well enough yet. There were instances where you could see that there was a win early, but because he doesn't use his hands to finish defeating the block, that offensive lineman is able to then reestablish his grip and then redirect Joshua Josephs instead of him chopping them hands down, which will then shorten that edge and allow him to turn that corner and be flat to the quarterback. He's trying to go up and around, and it's just not happening. He had some pressures, though, did Joshua Josephs, but I wasn't expecting just pressures. I was expecting some real difference-making plays, and we just didn't get that in the game. So a little disappointed there as well. Katron Allen, really good start. How many yards did he end up with, actually? And how many carries? So DQ disclosed at the press conference that Jerome Ford got injured, which it didn't really dawn on me while I was watching the game last night that we didn't see Jerome Ford after the opening kickoff. It didn't register for me. I just thought they were trying to look at the 2 rookies in Robert Henry Jr. and Katron Allen. So didn't even realize they only had dressed 3 backs because McNichols was already out. You knew Bill and Rashad White weren't going to play. So that puts you at 3 right there. And then Ford goes down, and all of a sudden, it was the Robert Henry Jr. and Fat Man show. And I thought Katron Allen did a great job of taking advantage of the opportunities that presented themselves. See what his count was yesterday. He went 23 carries, 85 yards. That's a grown man workload in the preseason. And it clearly would not have been that. But I love the way he finished out the game. You know, that last drive where the defense is tired, you're wearing on them. He put them down, put them to sleep, and got the game over with. So I did think that was impressive. And DQ even mentioned, you know, something to that effect of, you know, being able to put the game away at the end. Thought of all the rookies last night, he was probably the most impactful. The most impactful was Katron Allen. Matt Galbin, So he was interesting last night. I thought that he was up and down, right? There were no bad snaps on with either one of the centers, so that's a blessing, right? No bad snaps from Julian Good-Jones, no bad snaps from Matt Gulbin. There would be plays where Gulbin would look like a massive problem for this upcoming season. You know, why can't he end up being the center? There were snaps that you felt that way. And then there are some snaps where you go, that's interesting. What made you go with that? You know, what made you go with that decision? I want to see more from him. There were good reps. There were some not so good reps. I thought he finished the game strong. That last possession where Kaytron Allen started to have those good, and again, at that point, you're playing against the Dolphins' bottom of the barrel. So he should have been blocking a lot better by then. But I want to watch him again next week and kind of really see if he's getting better as he plays more and more snaps. Remember, this is only his second year playing center. Last year, he played center at Michigan State, and that was the first time that he had ever played center. So, for what it's worth, I want to just continue to see growth from Matt Gulbin, if nothing else. And then Athan Kaliak-Manis. So, I thought he played really well. I did. I loved his opening drive. It was probably his best drive of the game, to be honest. He came out first play. You're expecting a run. He's, cold off the bench. So probably want to ease him in. And they go big play action deep out to Antonio Williams. And I'm like, okay, Athan, finally, first of all, that was the first catch for Antonio in the game of his NFL career in the preseason. And it was Athan Kaliak-Manis' first throw. So they all kind of lined up. I was like, that's beautiful. Nice outcut. Everything looked fluid and efficient on that play. It was so nice. They basically ran it twice. A few plays later, Kaliak-Manis goes back to the out route, this time to Colson Yankoff for a first down. So he's moving and grooving. And they get to a 3rd and long. And they're about to have to punt. And Athan Kaliak-Manis throws a dart, a dime to Jacoby Jones, and he drops it. You're just like, he just flat out drops it. And it's that kind of thing that frustrates you because that drive looked like it had points written all over it, and Kaliak-Manis was in a rhythm early. And that drop prompted a punt, and I don't think he ever got back into that rhythm again. Now, he had some good throws. The next possession, he only attempted one throw, and it was a sack. He had 2 sacks on the day, and he still made some really good throws. Came back to Jacoby Jones on a deep over route after the drop, and he made that catch. So he had some throws. He had Jaden Bradley on the 3rd down when we were backed up all the way on our own 2-yard line on a shallow cross on the 3rd down. He held the ball as long as he could. Rusher was starting to bear down on him, and he finds Jaden Bradley on a shallow cross, and he picks up the 1st down. So Kaliak-Manis had his moments. I thought he was probably the 2nd best rookie in this game after Kaytron Allen. I thought he did some really good things. I walked away impressed with Athan Kaliak-Manis. Show me more. Show me more. Ball wasn't put in any, tough spots. So I think he's a guy you can trust. That's what you want out of your backup quarterback. And I think we're going to ultimately get to a place with Athan Kaliak-Manis where he's a guy you can trust. Kicking battle. Oh, my gosh. Let me go back. Let me go back to the rookies and the rookie rundown. Jaden Bradley, again, a little disappointed. Thought there would be more opportunities for him. I just thought there would be more opportunities in the pass game in general. So that might have been faulty thinking on my part, but I went in thinking that. So when you get the production that we got, kind of makes it easier for you to understand why we felt the way we felt. But thought he would get more opportunities. He just didn't. And I thought Nick Nash would be more involved. I don't even know if he got targeted in this game. Same could be said for Lawrence Cager. I don't know if Cager got targeted in this game at all. Sennett did have a catch from Sam Hartman. That was good to see on a boot. I thought we would see more from the tight ends and some of these young guys. And we didn't. Like I said, Robert Henry was probably one of the few young guys that stood out on the offensive side of football. And then defensively, probably Quan Martin, Shy Tuttle were your two standouts defensively. You want to throw Malik Spencer in there, go right ahead. That's another guy that's a rookie that he continues to make plays. You say what you want about Malik Spencer. He just continues to find himself around the football. Had a pick in camp already. Now he has a pick in a game. Again, the ball was thrown right to him. I don't care. Make the play. Same thing with Quan Martin's pick. I don't care. Make the play. He's a guy that just continues to find himself around the football. And he's going to be an interesting guy. That safety position, DQ talked about it after the game. That is one of the deepest positions that we have. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. We got a bunch of bodies. We got a lot of bodies. I don't know if we got guys that are, as he likes to say, heavy hitters, but we'll see. And I'm trying to see if there are any other rookies that I omitted. I don't think so. That we like. Kicking battle. Jake Moody started off the game with kickoffs and did a good job of keeping the ball in the field of play in terms of his kickoffs. Drew Stevens, not so much. He kicked his in the end zone, and it wasn't by design. Like Moody had one where you could tell he intentionally kicked it. After they scored the field goal to make it 20-7, he intentionally kicked it basically out of the back of the end zone. So I thought there were opportunities for Drew Stevens to kick some long field goals, obviously. And here's my theory on that. I said earlier that I didn't think that – I thought that DQ could have kicked some field goals. Here's my rationale as to why he didn't, right? They're trying to build up the confidence of Drew Stevens. The one thing you don't want him doing is missing kicks, especially in the preseason, in front of the home crowd, because that's what happened last year. Now, it wasn't in front of the home crowd, but the first game they put Matt Gay out there, he missed the kick. It snowballed from there. And with kickers, we know it's all about confidence. He's ahead on the scorecards. It's almost like a boxer. DQ loves his boxing analogies. Well, here's one right here. Drew Stevens is up pretty big on the scorecards. The only way he can lose this fight is if he gets knocked out. Okay? He could even have a knockdown, right? He could get knocked down. As long as he gets up and he continues to fight and he doesn't get knocked down 2 and 3 times each round that's left, he's going to win the fight. He won the first 9 rounds decisively with a couple of knockdowns. And so he's up huge on the scorecards. The only way he's going to lose this fight is if he gets knocked out or the ref stops the fight. That's the only way. Some sort of knockout, technical knockout, or just a flat out knockout, right? DQ knows the only way that knockout happens is if he misses kicks in the game. So what you can't do is, put him in bubble wrap. Well, fans will see that. They'll be outraged. Like, what are you doing? This is a competition. He should be kicking too. So you can't put him in bubble wrap. But what you can do is you can send him out there for the chippies. You can send him out there for the, as I like to call, money distance kicks. And he sent him out there for one of those from 41 yards out. And see if he can knock those home like he's supposed to. He had an extra point that was 33 yards. Made that one, but they had a penalty on the play, so it backed him up 5 yards, made it 38 yards, and he made that kick as well. Those are confidence builders. Those are kicks that continue to affirm that this is the right guy, y'all. You send him out there for the 62-yarder and he misses. One of two things could happen. One, he misses and the crowd is like, maybe he's not what we thought he was. He's this incredible weapon, but he doesn't have the accuracy. Or two, what we've, you see a guy miss one and then he starts to go into the tank. Like he's messing with his mechanics, especially if you're kicking a longer kick. I don't think Drew Stevens has to do that because he's got the leg, but you see kickers all the time. All it takes is one miss. Now they're up here. Next thing you know, it snowballs, and there's another miss, and another miss, and another miss. That's what happened last year with Matt Gay. That's what we saw happen to Jake Moody this summer. He was perfect. The first 7-8 days of camp, he was perfect. And then he went from having not missed a kick to he couldn't make a kick. Right? He was struggling. So I think DQ wants to put him in a position where they're not going to attempt anything crazy because they don't want to play with his psyche. They don't want him to miss. They want him to continue to see the ball go through the uprights. I'm of the mindset of how the hell do we know he can if you don't give him a chance to show that he can? Yeah, you've seen it in practice, but practice is practice. The game is the game. Can he make one or not? You had a chance at a 58-yarder, 59-yard. Why the hell would you not kick that to start the game off? I don't give a shit about momentum. It's the preseason. Kick that hoe. Then you had another chance. Late stages of the third. You're up 17-7. I get that you don't want to give away momentum. You missed that kick. They got it basically at midfield. I understand. Totally get all of that. I don't care. I don't care. Just kick it. I don't care. Just kick it. Just kick the damn ball. 62 yards. That's what we wanted. Now, if it was before halftime, he would have done it. He would have done it. Because there's nothing to lose. But the opportunity presented itself. DQ, he bitched up on me. I really wanted to see Drew Stevens kick a long one in this game. And there were two opportunities, and he bypassed both of them for punts. Moody banged a chippy off the upright. I think it was 37 yards, something like that. 35 yards. It was a chip shot. And I know he's struggling mentally because that shit banged off the upright and went through, similar to the Tampa Bay Zane Gonzalez, make. Moody's he's cooked. It's this again. Drew Stevens is up so big on the scorecards that Moody needs a knockout, and I don't think DQ is going to put him in a position where he can deliver one. So, good that Stevens made all of his kicks, and the leg is absolutely live. It is absolutely live. Is his leg. So, let's talk about injuries to wrap up. So we don't know the extent of any of the injuries. We're just going off the way they look, how the player looked after the injury, which has absolutely no bearing on the actual injury itself. We've seen guys walk off the field with torn ACLs or walk off of courts with torn ACLs and Achilles. Well, not ACLs, Achilles. ACL, you ain't walking nowhere. I say that, but I watched Phillip Rivers basically play an entire AFC Championship game with no Achilles. So, yeah, you can do that too. So you can't always go off of, a guy and how he handles it, but we generally know. We've watched enough football to know when it's serious and when it's not. Marcus's injury worried me because it felt non-contact-ish. Like he just went down, nobody touched him. You all right? But then the way he got up and he walked, there was no, hitch in his giddy up. There was no favoring one leg or the other. He just kind of was walking gingerly because of the hit. I think he's going to be okay. I don't think we're going to, wake up tomorrow to some morbid news with him. Ale Cajo left early after the interception. We'll talk about turnovers here too before we get out of here because obviously the Dolphins, man, I gotta say this. The Dolphins stink, man. You know, after they took out Malik Willis and their starters, those guys had so many opportunities. We're gonna talk about that because, like, I want to put this game in proper perspective. All right, so Ale left after the interception. Good play by Ale, but that ball was thrown right to him. He did have to go kind of leap a little bit to get to it, but that ball was thrown right to him. All the interceptions were thrown basically right to the guy that caught it. Quan's interception, he had to go get it, but it was up for grabs. Like, I don't know if the quarterback was trying to throw it away or what he was trying to do, but Quan showed the range to go get it before it went out of bounds. But it wasn't a difficult play. Only if you're, slow as molasses, then you might not be able to get there in enough time. But Ale's was thrown right to him. Malik Spencer's was thrown right to him. And like I said, the only guy that made a play on the ball that didn't pick it off, but had he picked it off, would have been a dope interception because he made a play, would have been Kane Madrano. That said, we'll take anything we can get from a turnover standpoint. Put a pin in that. Ale got the interception. I thought the return on the interception was even better than the pick itself. Like, oh shit, look at Ale go. He made me stand up out my seat. Go, Ale, go. Thought you could get a little convoy. One thing I know about defensive players, damn, they don't know how to block. Jesus, they just know how to run. They're just running. They ain't blocking a soul. Like, what are you doing? Like, go block somebody. Don't run next to me. Go block somebody. Go be useful. That was a great return by Ale. But I think he got hurt on that return. So he ended up leaving, going to the locker room. Don't know the extent of his injury. DQ answered some questions about Ale after the game, none of them which had anything to do with an injury. So maybe he came back on the sidelines. Maybe he had to use the bathroom. I don't know. But you also had the injury to Jerome Ford, which I don't think any of us really – I didn't realize because – they might have told you on the telecast that Jerome Ford had an injury, so y'all knew. In the stadium, we didn't know. At least I didn't. But it makes sense now. That's why Fat Man had 23 carries, and that's why Robert Henry Jr. had what do you have, like 12 or 14 carries, something like that. And he averaged like a healthy ass like 6 or 7 yards per carry. Did Robert Henry Jr.? He averaged 6.3 yards a carry on 12 carries, 75 yards. Like, he had a stellar night, man. Stellar night. K-Tron was 23 carries, 85 yards. And a touchdown. So, and Robert Henry was 12 carries, 75 yards and a touchdown. So, really good work. But Ford got injured. Don't know the extent of the injury. Only got 1 carry on the night. Had the 1 kickoff return, and then he was gone. So, don't know what happened to him. You hope it's nothing serious because I don't think he's going to make the roster anyway. But it makes it a lot tougher for him to crack the roster if he's not healthy. You know what it would do? Is it indirectly, sometimes there are unintended consequences that come from things that occur. I think one of the unintended consequences of Jerome Ford getting injured here, and if it's serious and he's got to miss a couple weeks, he's not going to make the team, but he could end up on the practice squad. The name alone should elicit some interest around the league. Like, oh, no, we know who Jerome Ford is. We'll need to see him in the preseason to know he can help us. Yeah, go ahead and claim him, right? Go ahead and sign him. But out of sight, out of mind. New running backs into the league every year. Some of these guys are young, spry, fresh. If I don't see him and I'm not thinking about him, it's easy for me to be like, no, I'm good. Versus he out here doing what Robert Henry just did and averaging over 6 yards a pop, and he does that for a couple preseason games in a row, and you're like, shit, maybe he need an opportunity. So that's the only thing that could come of that. But Don't know the extent of his injury. Don't even know if it's upper or lower body. Again, y'all might have found out during the telecast. I skimmed through it because I had already watched all these plays except for the, first 2.5 possessions. That's how long it took us to get to our seats after getting in and, finally parking, getting in, and then getting my son something to eat, and then finding our seats. We had basically missed the first 2.5 possessions of the game. So don't know the extent of that injury, but I hope it's nothing serious. But there was a serious, speaking of serious injury last night, and that sucks. Because I actually thought he was playing well. Thought he played his ass off last night. That was Fred Davis II. Went down in a heap, non-contact. I knew it was bad the minute I saw it. He was writhing in pain. He was grabbing the knee. And I was like, shit. And I was praying that it was a different number. And this might sound really bad, but I'm not going to say that. That's not right. I'm not going to say that. I was hoping it wasn't 38. I just remember saying, don't be 38. Don't be 38. Don't be 38. I was like, damn, it looked like it's 38. It was 38. He was on the cart crying. I felt so bad for him, man. And he was having a good night. And I told you, I thought he wasn't going to make the roster, but he had an outside shot at making the roster. He was absolutely going to be on the practice squad. And to be honest, I think he would have been the best developmental corner on the roster. That sucks, man. What a shame. So those were the injuries. We for the most part, came out of the game feeling pretty good from an injury standpoint. Turnovers forced. We were +2 in that category. That's awesome. I'm not sure if we were +2 in any game last year. Even that includes the preseason. So to get 3 turnovers again, the Dolphins stink, man. God, the Dolphins are ass. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Those interceptions were basically gifts to each of those defenders. They didn't make a play on the ball. They didn't jump a route. They just were right place, right time. And, a lot of interceptions are just that. Like Anthony Richardson threw an interception against the Patriots where he didn't do anything wrong. Ball went through the hands of his receiver, right into the hands of an Indianapolis Colts defender. Sometimes shit just happens outside of your control. But when you look at like how these balls were thrown, he's like, what are you doing? Why would you? Now, one of them, I think, it was an errant pass. There was tremendous pressure on that play. Ricky Barber had a beautiful rush. Oh my gosh, it was the best interior rush of the night. Beats the guard, gets to, I want to say it was Quinn Ewers at the time, and then Javonte John Baptiste hits him as well, and that ball kind of fluttered, and I think that's the one that Quan Martin ended up catching. But I don't care how you get the interceptions. I don't care how you get the turnovers. Beggars can't be choosers. They had 3 turnovers forced. I love it. Hopefully that keeps up. They gave one away, Sam Hartman's interception, so unnecessary. So it ended up being +2. You stack enough of those up during the course of the regular season, and you'll find yourself in that winner chicken dinner category. Seriously. So that's one thing I got to say. The turnovers did happen last night, and you like that. They didn't force them. Speaking of not forcing them, the Dolphins stink, man. They are awful. After Malik Willis and those starters came out, it got funky. And I think the score is very misleading. 20-7. Seems like we dominated the game. Not true. Not true at all. The Dolphins were open. And, this is vanilla defense, yada, yada, yada. I don't care. We got them in the 3rd and long. They had a couple of penalties, and we let them convert because we're in zone, and the zone is saggy and loose. Guys are open. It's not tight. And that's what happened on the corner route on the first possession behind Rasul Douglas, wide ass open. And guys were running open all night. All night long, all night. Oh, all night long, all night, all night. They just couldn't catch. You know how many drops the Dolphins had? Like, with space to run at that. Like, if he catches that, it's another 7 to 10 yards in it for him if he wants it. And they just couldn't catch. Drops galore last night. The Dolphins had at least 6 drops. At least 6. Possibly a 7th. You want to count one of those, plays over by the sidelines on I think it was the second possession when they got the 4th down stop. It was a 3rd down out route thrown right in front of Antonio Hamilton. It was dropped. Again, could have been right outside his reach, but it felt like a drop to me. You just can't live like that. And a team like Detroit next week, and I doubt you see their starters. Don't care. The Dolphins stink, and that's a different level of funk that you're going to encounter. You're not going to encounter that again. You're not getting that level of funk again. You have to tighten up. And another thing that was alarming to me, so the 20-7, don't run with that like the defense had a dominant performance. They did not. They did not. It's not a dominant performance. They got a lot of help from the Dolphins. We had a lot of penalties. A lot of special teams penalties in particular. But we had a lot of penalties. The pass interference I thought on the first possession was bogus. I hated that call. But that was a penalty. Now it was declined because the one-hand grab was made. But you had at least 3, possibly 4 special teams penalties. I know you had the false start on the extra point that backed up Drew Stevens from 33 to 38. You had another special teams penalty and then another one. It was 3 total. Got to clean up the penalties. Got to. And DQ harped on that last week when he talked about having the officials in the building and how they were going to kind of simulate some things because ultimately the penalties can be the difference between winning a game and losing a game. And they had the officials out there during the joint practice. He was like, we're going to have officials out here in the next couple of days, joint practice, etc. These are be some of the same officials that's calling the game. So he said, I told him to call it tight. We got hit with an illegal formation, tight end cover up. Like, that's that dumb pre-snap shit we can't have. Can't have it. We had a false start on one of the guards, one of the backup guards. How many penalties? I bet you we had at least 7 penalties in the game. No less than 6 for sure. I'm going to go with 7 as my number. 7 penalties. And I'm going to say the yardage wasn't significant. So, because a lot of them were like 5-yard infractions. I'll say 7 penalties for, because I don't think we had any oddball penalties. 7 penalties for like 45 yards. Damn, I'm good. 7 for 47. I don't know where that awkward number came from, where the extra 2 yard. You know what? Because you get one of those half the distance to the goal penalties, and that'll do it to you. So, yeah, we had 7 penalties. That's way too many. Way too many. And I knew that we had a lot of penalties there. Kaliak Manis took a couple of sacks. And DQ mentioned one of them. He thought he could have thrown it away. I mentioned that on the vlog. I thought he could have thrown it away, but I think he would have got called for intentional grounding. I do think he would have got called for intentional grounding. So ultimately, we were 8 of 17 on 3rd downs, which is really good. The Dolphins were 3 of 12. And again, 2 or 3 of those were drops that would have resulted in 1st down. So all in all, solid opening performance. Oh, and by the way, we had heard at the joint practice that the team was having some issues with covering kicks. Tutu Atwell almost broke one for a touchdown in this game. So again, I don't want to get too caught up in it because last year the Patriots gouged us in the first preseason game, and then we didn't have any issues with returns the rest of the season. But we also don't have the same personnel. Like Jeremy Reeves literally did not play in the game. Let that sink in. So who knows how they handling him on special teams? We'll see. Special teams, if not for Quentin Moore the undrafted tight end out of Washington, making that shoestring tackle on Tutu Atwell, he was out the gate. Touchdown. So got to tighten up on specials and got to tighten up on these penalties. Those are the two things that I see right now, like major takeaways that are obvious for me. And you would like to protect the football, but you have the one turnover. So anyway, I digress. Overall, good win. Like, you take them any way you can get them. I know it's preseason, and the objective is to just come out as healthy as possible. And for the most part, we did that. Yeah, we had some nicks and bruises and, one big one, but we can survive, right? Those weren't any major, setbacks. Hopefully next week we can say the same about the guys that are out there, that there are no, in major injuries, no setbacks, major setbacks with anybody significant to this team's success moving forward. But I thought the execution was solid on both sides of the football. I thought that we saw some young guys get, their feet wet, start to really gain some confidence. And I think when it's all said and done, this is going to be a good football team. I think it's going to be a really good football team. But what we also saw yesterday, I believe, is that there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done. So let's get to a quick word from our sponsor and then come back on the other side. And then we will see what y'all talking about. So let's get a word from our sponsor of this stream, PrizePicks. So if you are not a member of the PrizePicks family, you're in luck. Link is in the description of this video. Click that link. It'll take you to where you can download the app. App is available in states like California, Florida, and Texas. Use the promo code HMA, as you see on the screen, as a first-time user. That'll unlock an opportunity for you to play a $5 2-pick power play lineup or a 3-pick flex lineup or more. You can max it out if you like. But all you're trying to do is win this $5 lineup. You win that $5 lineup, you get $150 instantly in lineup bonuses when you use the promo code HMA. So win that $5 lineup, get $150 in lineup bonuses. Let's get to a quick little, I got 5 bonus bucks. Let's go ahead and spend it, man. Sheesh. Let's go ahead and spend it. So WNBA, we got some good games coming up tonight. And I'm just trying to get on the board, man. Sheesh. Shakira Austin has been killing it here of late. So I don't want to go 32 PRA, but she just been murdering the PRA department here lately. We'll go 29 PRA. We just trying to win, man. Jeez Louise, can we get a dub? Please. Let's see who else up here I trust from a PRA standpoint. Jackie Young been killing it here on PRA here late. So we going to, again, lowest we can possibly go, man. Even if this is a $12, can I just get a little something, right? 24 PRA for her. Olivia Miles. All right. 25 PRA for her. Let's see. Nafisa. Let's see. I just like her for points. I don't even really, because she don't rebound. She don't do a lot of those things. Let's just go points. And we'll go, where's Fiza at? Where's Queen Fee? She right there. I know they're going to let me get her for 15. Like, I ain't trying to hurt nobody, man. Ask her for 15. Who else? What else is another one that you feel really good about? Because are the Fever playing tonight? I feel like the Fever. Let me go look at the lineup. No, it's the Lynx and the and the Aces. And then the Sparks and the Mystics. All right. How many I got? That's 4. Okay. Did I got Olivia? I got Olivia already. Let's see. Yeah, Sonia is another one that's pretty good. Well, I already got. I got Shakira. I got Jackie. Okay, so I don't have. Let's go to points and let's go get our girl. See what they talking about with Asia. Yeah, 20. 20. Again, I ain't asking for much. 20 for her. And let's see what they talking about for Nika. Oh, I could get her at 10. Let's go 12. I'm feeling frisky. Let's go 12 for her. All right. Got my little $5 bonus. Turn that over. $17.50. Can we just do that? Can I just win $17.50? Please. I'm submitting the lineup, man. Let me get my $17.50, please. Sheesh. All right. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this stream. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if y'all looked at the line for the Commanders Dolphins game yesterday, but they were disrespectful. Like if you put down $10, you could win 15 on just betting on just the for them to just win the game. Outright winner. Like, wait. Why are we plus 150 here? What's going on? What do we like? You really thought we was gonna lose to the Dolphins? Really? They really thought that we were underdogs. The Dolphins were like minus 105 and we were plus 150. I started to put together a little, ticket just off the strength of that. And then I came to my senses. What are we doing, bro? It's preseason ball. You got to draw the line somewhere, man. I ain't going to lie to you, though. I looked at that last night, and I don't think I would have hit because I was putting together a Mariota thing up there, too. And I think Jaden Bradley didn't have the night that I thought he was going to have, and he would have been on the ticket as well. But I had Fat Man. I had the Malik Willis on the ticket, and it was for his first drive. And that first drive money is crazy. They giving it out on the first drive, but you got to hit. It's the first drive, right? And I had him and the Douglas kid. So they were both on the ticket. Us to win the game. Like a lot of the stuff would have hit, but somebody would have got me. It would have been Jaden Bradley. Let me go look real quick because I don't remember. I don't really recall what Bradley did. I know he caught the little shallow cross when we were down inside our own 5-yard line on that third down to keep that drive alive. And I think he had one more catch where he went down on the ground and caught it on a bootleg. I think he had 2 catches, and my guess is 2 for like 19 or something like that. Maybe 21. Let me check and see. He had 2 for 21. I'm good, man. Jacoby Jones, even though he had a drop, it ended up being our leading receiver. That's how crazy this game was. Antonio had the 1 catch on the outbreaker. Traylon Burks had the 1 catch. Diami had the 1 catch. This shit got spread around to everybody. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys catch the football. The only guy that got targeted in this game that did not have a catch was Luke McCaffrey. Everybody else that was in the game that got targeted caught the football, and Lawrence Cager didn't even get targeted. They spread this thing around. Nobody had more than 3 catches. Jalen Lane had 3 catches in the game. He led the way. Jacoby Jones had the most yards in the game at 33. So this thing was spread out over, multiple guys. So that was interesting too. But that would have cost me if I would have put some money down. I'm not putting no money down, man. It's preseason ball. Like these rotations are crazy. They're nutty. I want no parts of it. I looked today though. I looked at Tyson Bagent. I looked at Jackson Dart. I looked at JJ McCarthy. All them numbers look real ripe for the picking. I was like, but then what if, you know, Jackson Dart got hurt at one point, but he came back. But what if he, exactly what happened? He gets hurt. He leaves the game. They run the ball. They get down close. He comes back in and he throws a touchdown pass. He's out for the rest of the game. He did what he needed to do. He came in, he, completed 2 or 3 passes, threw a touchdown. He's out of the game now. But he didn't hit the yards that he needed because he was out. Like, yeah, I'm good. Like, that's that preseason shit. I cannot subject myself to that. But anybody is feeling froggy, feel free to leap, right? Anyway, I digress. So, real quick before we move on, y'all know what time it is. Commanders Kings second annual toast to the season. It's rapidly approaching. Tomorrow, we are 1 week away. 1 week from tomorrow, this event is taking place. I saw a number of you at Northwest Stadium yesterday. Shout out to everybody that I chopped it up with. Shout out to my guy Dante that I ended up taking a couple pictures with. He was one of the guy that you saw in the video. So shout out to everybody that I talked to. I asked them, were they coming out to the event? If I ask you, hey, you coming out to the event, and you go, what event? You ain't coming to the event, man. I ain't gonna fool myself. You ain't coming out to the event. If you ain't know that there was an event, then you ain't coming to the event. I rolled up, 2 or 3 dudes rolled up on me. I chopped it up with them. I'm like, yo, you coming to the event? What event? I said, the Kings event at Hook Hall. Oh, man, that's right around the corner. Yeah, I'm coming. He ain't coming. But I did my part, man. I was out there making sure I put that out there on the consciousness of the community. But for those of you who are in tune to what's going on here, we got an event coming up next Sunday, August 23rd, live from DC at Hook Hall. The Commander Kings are live for only the second time in their history. Ed Oliver, Rico, Rio Robinson, and myself will be together, and we're going to have us a blast. We've got the burgundy and gold raffle. You've seen the jersey. That's one of the biggest raffle, not one of the biggest. It is the biggest raffle item that we have. We're giving away an authentic 2026 Kings Commanders jersey. It's fire. Rio showed it to you on the stream the other day. We're going to sign it, and it's going to be fire. We've got trivia. We've got Q&A sessions, a lot of fan engagement activities. We'll have some giveaways. We got the signature drink contest, as you can see on the screen. I got the TNT. It's explosive. It's going to be the best drink. You guys are going to vote on which drink is the best. Among other things, we're going to talk about the second preseason game, similar to what we just did here on the first one. We are going to project the 53-man roster. I think it's getting really interesting. Oh, something else that I forgot to mention. I'm going to mention it after this. I'll put a pin in that, come back to it. But we're going to project the 53-man roster and, of course, the overall season totals, win total for the team and what we think is going to ultimately happen. So come on out, join us on Sunday, August 23rd, live from Hook Hall in the heart of DC, as the Kings kick off the season with a toast for the ages. You don't want to miss it. We're going to have a blast. Want you to be a part of it. Shout out to everybody who's already purchased tickets. Link to the event in the description. Tickets right now, $75 to get in the building. And I just talked to my guy over at the Hilltop RVA, and we are going to sell tickets the day of, because I usually cut it off the day before, but they have a way now that we can still keep the portal open until, the day of, right up until the event is to start. So we will be selling tickets the day of, but I will warn you, if you're trying to get your way into the event, the day of, the ticket price is probably going to go up a little bit because it's the day of. It's a little bit of an inconvenience at that point. But in any event, I know a lot of you like to procrastinate. We got less than 50 tickets left. So if you're interested in coming out to the event, time is running out, and so are the tickets. So get your tickets, come out, support. More importantly, have fun. Create a new core memory with the Kings live Sunday, August 23rd. Links are in the description. Direct link, take you straight to buy them tickets. The other link is informative, has all the information about the event, including where you can park. And also, if you want to donate, you want to have a shout out given, you want to be a vendor, all those things, you can do that from the other link as well. So come on out, support the event, and most importantly, have a damn good time to kick off this season with the Kings. Looking forward to seeing y'all in the building. So with that said, let's get to the comment section, see what you guys are talking about. Ant-Man, thank you for the super chat. Oh, I said I was going to put a pin in it. Let me take that pin out. Will Harris, last guy out there defensively. Now, DQ said this after the game, and I'm going to take it at face value, that they have a really deep safety group. And in his defense, Will Harris started the game with Quan Martin and Fabian Moreau and Rasul Douglas and Sonny Styles and Leo Chanel and all those guys that were out there. Will Harris was out there with them too. Now, all of those guys went to the bench. They went to halftime break, and Will Harris came back out onto the field and played with the likes of TJ Mag and Ale Cajo and Kane Madrano and DJ Johnson. And so, again, I'm just saying, DQ did say that with no Nick Cross and no Revo, safety, mix was a little bit funky, and it's going to change next week, and he might not be the guy playing as long. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. I just know what I know. And I know that when a guy's playing, like, they could have left Quan Martin out there longer, but they didn't. Right? They could have left Tyler Owens out there longer, but they didn't. So I'm not saying, I'm just saying. We'll see what happens. Now let's get to the comment section. Ant-Man, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Ant-Man writes, Lou, my guy. What up, Ant-Man? That vlog of you and your son was so good to see. Glad you finally got out of the house. Yeah, man. A lot of people have been making fun of me for that, and I deserve it. I don't get out of the house often, especially when it comes to going to games. That's just not my scene, right? He said, all jokes aside, it's all love, man. Hell, I appreciate it. And it was really dope, man. My son had a great time. We really had a great time. Like I would absolutely go to another game. I would absolutely go to another game. It was really pleasant. And, while the stadium is still not aesthetically pleasing, they have fixed it up a lot since the last time. They had the little Sean Taylor lot where you go up, they're playing his highlights from high school and college and the NFL, and they've got his jersey up, and it's just like a little shrine to him. That's pretty dope. They fixed it up really nice. Like you can tell that Josh Harris and his group poured money into the stadium. It looks night and day better than the last time I was there. So that was pretty cool. Even the way that you get food, you just walk in, you scan your little card or whatever. You walk in, grab whatever, and they just charge you, for whatever you bought. Even that's dope and efficient. So the experience overall was a lot better than I remember. So everything about that, other than trying to get into the damn parking lot, everything about the parking lot was traumatic for me. Trying to get into the parking lot and then trying to find my damn car afterwards. Other than that, I'd say it was a great day yesterday. Great day. And my son couldn't stop talking about it. So it was worth it. Even almost getting into 16 accidents trying to get to the parking lot, it was worth it. Wrath of God, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Wrath writes, Lou, bro, I'm so sorry. Hope you got my email. Yes. Man, it's fine, bro. You talking about that ticket, man. It's all good, bro. It's all love, man. Shit happens, bro. It's all good, man. It's all good. Says, thank you so much for all you do. That said, I think Hartman will be the fourth man out. Can't wait to see JD5 out there with some starters again. My apologies. It's all good, man. And you didn't have to do what you did either. I'm almost thinking about sending it back to you. You did not have to do that, bro. Seriously. It is not a big deal. All right. But I appreciate you. I just wanted to let you know that because I meant to get back to you because I saw the email and saw what you did. And I was going to email you back and let you know. And then I had a bunch of stuff going on. I was running around like chicken with his head cut off in anticipation of, going out to the game yesterday. So I didn't have a chance to respond, but you're all good, bro. Trust me. It's not a big deal, man. Anyway, as far as Hartman is concerned, yeah, I've said this. The minute they drafted Ethan Kaliak-Manis, it felt like Hartman was on borrowed time. And he's done nothing to change my mind. He played better than he ever did last year. Like yesterday, even though he threw an interception and almost threw another one, that was still light years better than that bullshit he put out there last year, where he was unwatchable and unplayable last year in the preseason. So he made some throws yesterday, but like I said, his good was overshadowed by the bad, the interception and then the near interception, which would have cost them points. He's not a good quarterback, period. So I do believe he's on borrowed time, and I do believe Ethan Kaliak-Manis is your third quarterback. Again, assuming that they keep three. There is no guarantee that they keep three quarterbacks. There's no guarantee that happens. Mr. Glenwood, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mr. Glenwood writes, Lou, what's up, Mr. Glenwood? This fan base is wild. Why so? I mean, I agree with you, but tell me why. Tell me why. Dan had that man, Sonny and Leo, for that matter, on a literal island out there with no starters. Already seen people calling him Jamin Davis. Oh yeah, that's wild. Yeah, our fan base is crazy, bro. My wife told me that they was wilding on X, and I said, babe, those aren't fans. Okay. Those are people on social media. They're not real people. They're not real fans. They're not real people. That's not a real place. Don't engage. Right? Yeah, the fan base, those people are crazy because they say the wildest shit up. My wife be bringing it up. I'm like, who said that? She'll bring up something to me, and I'm like, I haven't heard one person say. She's like, they're saying it on X. I'm like, then I look at her like, on X, bae? Really? Don't bring that X bullshit to me. Like, that's not a real place. Those aren't real people. You don't know who you're talking to. That might be a Vegas Raiders fan trolling, right? In here, engaging. People create accounts to look like fans of, like, you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who you're talking to. So, yeah, that's crazy. Calling that man Jamin Davis for, what are we out there for? 8 plays, maybe 9 plays max? Come on, man. Stop that shit. Yeah, that kind of stuff, I don't even acknowledge that kind of behavior. Right? I don't even acknowledge that. That's crazy talk. Voices of Martians. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, people on Reddit were crashing out during Miami's opening drive. See, Reddit, right? Shaking my head. This fan base is so damaged that any little thing going wrong causes doomerism. Yeah, you got to be careful of the spaces that you occupy, because like Facebook is another one, really toxic shit. And I don't even be on Facebook. I just see some of the posts and I'm like, this is the shit that y'all be doing in these groups on Facebook? If so, please. And trust me, I know. On game day when I do the mob, watch parties, man, people be in the chat going crazy. One pass completed on the opening play. Oh, game's over. We suck. We're going to lose. Like, and they be dead ass. Like, some people be trolling. Some people be dead ass when they do that shit. Dead ass. We're a damaged fan base. There's no doubt about it. No ifs, ands, or buts. But some people just be doing the most. Again, I don't engage in that kind of conversation. If people are saying stuff like that, that's not my type of crowd. That definitely ain't my type of conversation. I told you, when I'm at the barbershop and I hear that frivolous ass conversation taking place, I just mind my business. Similar to what I told y'all we supposed to be doing with injuries. Head down, eyes forward, mind your business. Just mind your business. Just mind your business, right? So when people start talking crazy like that, crashing out over a opening possession in the first preseason game against the Dolphins, in which we had like 80 starters on the bench, yeah, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Eyes forward, head down, mind my business. Just mind my business, right? That's not the kind of, if you are an informed fan, which I know you are, that ain't the kind of conversation you need to be engaging in. That's not for you. Trust me. Let me save you the time, energy, and brain cells. That is not the conversation you're supposed to be finding yourself in. You don't need to die on that hill trying to protect or trying to, explain something to somebody that thinks that the opening drive of the first preseason game is an omen of things to come. Trust me. All right. Shadow Striker 789. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Shadow Striker writes, Robert Henry, man, talk about him. Couldn't believe he went undrafted. Example number one, Ethan looked super poised, man. I was impressed. Our backup D tackles can't stop the run. So I'll tell you this much. We laughed about Shy Tuttle. You say Shy Tuttle. I say Shy City. Shy City. We laughed about Shy Tuttle. We laughed when DQ was talking about him playing square. We laughed about it. Shy Tuttle was unblockable in that late stages of that first quarter into the second quarter. He was unblockable. The bro was in on every single tackle. Okay. Yeah. Early on in the game, when it was Ricky True Lies in my barber and Johnny Newton, or as DQ likes to call him, Jay-Z, yeah, it was getting gutted, gashed. Brothers could not get off blocks, and they light in the trunks. So you'll never see that combination of guys in the game. One, Ricky Barber is not making the team. Two, Johnny Newton isn't going to be in the game by himself at any point. Like, he'll be accompanied by a Deron Payne or a Javon Kinlaw or a Tim Settle or someone else that can hold up at the point of attack. You won't have to worry about him being out there with another guy that's light in the trunks. So I don't think you have to worry about that again. But yeah, it was disappointing early in the game, and I talked about that. Yeah, Ethan looked really poised. I agree. He really did. Even down to the third down conversion when after the Dolphins had a beautiful downing of a punt at the 2-yard line, and they went, I want to say they went run, and then third down he threw a shallow cross, but he had to hang in there. He took a shot, but he hung in and he got it to Jaden Bradley, who was able to get the first down. And that's big because it helped us, somewhat flip the field position back in our favor. I thought he looked really poised, made some good throws. You could see the arm strength, some of the accuracy, but he also took some sacks, and you saw the lack of mobility. I thought he was a little bit more mobile than that. You could see there is really little to no mobility with him because he couldn't get away. There was nowhere for him to go. So that's something you would like to see cleaned up. But ultimately, I like what I saw a lot. Especially, and I think it always makes it look a lot better when you're coming behind a guy like Sam Hartman. Hartman stinks, and the ball's flying around everywhere, and then the guy comes in and the ball's being placed right where it needs to be placed at consistently, and it just looks night and day different. Robert Henry, man, he looked good, and he was fielding punts. Again, the more you can do, the more you can do. Off to another world. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Off to another world, writes Louie. By the way, I hate when y'all spell my name like that. But sometimes it's like if you're talking into your phone and it's writing it for you, it's going to do, when you say Louie, that's the way it's going to pop up. But I hate when y'all spell it like that. I'll be honest with you. Styles make fights. Obviously, Reeves must be a fit to this scheme. It's not like there's been multiple years of defensive identity here. You're not wrong. And again, I told you, I can't tell you guys what to do. I have to rewire my brain to allow guys that have been here. I had to do it with Julian Good-Jones. I have to do it with All-Pro Revo, right? I have to do it with Quan Martin. And like, I have to give guys an opportunity that have been here for multiple years a chance to prove that this is a different scheme and they may be a better fit for said scheme. Not because I've seen them fail or be mediocre in other schemes here over the years that they can't do it at a high level in this new scheme. I have to give them a chance to prove that they're mediocre in this scheme as well, or that they're really good, a solid, at worst, a solid starter in this scheme. Whether it's defensively in Durante Jones's scheme for a guy like, Jeremy Reeves, or you're talking about offensive side of football, you're talking about Julian Good-Jones or someone of that ilk. So you're right. You're right. And we're going to see. We're going to see. Jay Caroline, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jay Caroline writes, Coward looked good as well. He had his moments. He had one play where he blocked destruction, which is what Durante talks about, got in the backfield, stood a dude up, probably like a 1 or 2 yard loss. It's a beautiful play. And took his guy into the backfield, boom, stood the guy up. I thought 55 played well too. I agree. I think Coward showed like a more of a squareness to him. Let me stop that shit. He showed the ability to get off of blocks and find the football. So yeah, thought him and Shy Tuttle looked the part at defensive tackle in terms of being able to stand their ground, get off of blocks, go find the football, that sort of thing. And I'll say this, Ricky Barber, if nothing else, I think he can rush the quarterback. Now, stopping the run, kind of hit or miss. Rushing the quarterback, I think Ricky Barber can do that. The Original Dream, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. The Original Dream writes, Jaden got more hate than Terrion Arnold, Pierce Jr., and EDP. Also, Sam Hartman and Jerzon Newton got to go. So you already know there's a lot of haters for Jaden out there, right? Like, I don't have to tell you that. They want this man to fail. So a lot of people out there that want to see this man fail. So that's not a surprise. He ain't out here getting into kidnapping allegations and assaults. He ain't out here whooping, females' asses or none of that. And yet they hating on this man over not wanting his name, image, and likeness used. It's crazy, bro. The world we live in, it's an evil, evil world we live in, bro. It's a wise man once said. It's an evil world we live in. Hartman and Jay-Z got to go. I don't disagree. Like, I know Johnny made the play on 4th down along with Ricky Barber. True lies in my barber. Johnny's right now, like, he's in great shape, but he just feels like he's useless. Like, he's never going to be what we thought he was going to be. And I hate that for him. I hate it. Because unlike Ben Sinnott, who you could argue maybe Ben Sinnott was overdrafted. Maybe. Newton was supposed to be a first-round pick had he not had the off-season surgery. But he fell to the second because he wasn't able to work out pre-draft. But the talent was supposed to be first-round-ish. I ain't seen it. And I'm still not seeing it. Now, with that said, this is why you don't get rid of Johnny Newton or Jay-Z. Because when they actually start running the scheme and you're getting all these twists and stunts and you're getting all this movement and all this chaos being created up front by guys like Kaylavon Chason and Adafi Owe and Deron Payne and Javon Kinlaw and Charles Omenihu and Dietrich Wise and Dorrance Armstrong. And I know y'all heard about his 1-game suspension. You know what? That's extra time for him to get his feet under him and get some more rehab in. So I ain't tripping about him missing the first game of the season. But you get all that chaos and havoc being wreaked. And then, oh, by the way, they're going to blitz their backers and some of the guys off the, corners. You get all that happening, and all of a sudden, Johnny Newton gets one-on-one, or Johnny Newton's able to come free because they're preoccupied looking somewhere else, or, what I'm saying? All I'm saying is we haven't seen the full version of this defense yet unleashed to be able to say, okay, Johnny's useless. We can't utilize him in any aspect of this defense. He's got to go. What we have established is that one-on-one, just mano a mano, you put Johnny Newton in front of any offensive lineman, center, guard, tackle, he generally doesn't win. He generally doesn't win. And that wasn't supposed to be the case. Part of the reason you drafted him in the second round, thinking you got a first-round steal, is that he was supposed to win one-on-one matchups. He was supposed to be a havoc-wreaking, penetrating defensive tackle, one-gap penetrator. Get in the backfield, blow shit up. Whether it's a run or a pass, he was supposed to be able to beat centers across their face. Too quick for centers. Too quick for guards. We haven't seen that. We ain't seen that. Hartman stinks. Yeah, Hartman can go. Hartman can go. Just play the Javon Kinlaw clip for Sam Hartman. He can go. Derek B, thank you for the super chat. All right, thank you for being a member for 59 months. Celebrate! My guy, almost at 60. Cadillac look good. Trade Payne crowd is quiet. Look. Every year, you're going to get one name that gets picked out of a hat that's like, trade this guy. We need to trade this guy. It's an echo chamber. You hear one person say it, then another person say it, then next thing you know, everybody's saying it. It was Frankie early on. It's always Payne. We've been throwing Payne in trades and finding ways to get rid of Payne ever since Payday Payne happened back in 2022. We've been trying to trade this man. So, because he ain't done it again since. I think he's poised for a big season now. You got the crowd that's like, even if he had a season, you can't pay him again. Can't pay him because he's just going to do what he did the last time. And I'm like, I don't know about that. But I'll tell you this much. I've never seen Deron Payne, and I've seen him in great shape before. I've never seen him in this good shape before. But that could also be he know what time it is, right? So he's highly motivated this year. This is the last one he's going to get in terms of massive payday. This is the last one that he's going to have a chance to get. So he knows what's at stake, but he ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. Darnell Kelly, been a member for 59 months. Celebrate! My guy, Darnell writes, the right guard with that tattoo name, I want to see him in Trent Place. He was putting people in the dirt. If it worked, put him at left guard to compete. Paul run blocking is disgusting. I said this at the top of the show. I worry about Chris Paul, the run blocker, okay, especially in this scheme. I've been hearing people talk about the interior of the offensive line, run blocking wise, and how it hasn't been great in camp. I can see why it hasn't been great. One, you got Julian Good-Jones in there, but two, Chris Paul's in there. So I totally get that. And then you are talking about Tanoa Togiai. the undrafted out of Utah. I'm with it. He had the false start penalty, but I'm with it. Like, he's got something to him. I'm not a big Trent Scott guy. I'm really not. So I like his versatility, but he's not good at any of the positions. That's the problem. It's like, oh, he can play both tackle spots and both guard spots. Yeah, but he's not good at any of them. So what? In his defense in 2024, when he came in for Sam Cosmi, we didn't even notice Cosmi was gone. In that Detroit game, we noticed in the Eagles game the following week, though. We noticed that. But he's not really good at any of those positions. So he was funky. He was really funky last night. I do know that. And really disappointed in him. I don't think they're going to do anything, but I hear you. I'm with you. I'm open to it. Jay Caroline, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Drew missed the one that was called back. So from my angle, my vantage point, it looked like it was good. Now, if you were watching it on TV, maybe he did miss. I looked at the officials. They put their hands up. So I just assumed that one was good from 33 yards. But again, from my angle, it looked good. So I can't tell you you're wrong because I didn't watch it on television. But he made the one that did count. I know that much. And that one was 38 yards. So, and he might have known that the play wasn't good and he just kicked it anyway. He knew it was false start and that's why he might have missed. You never know. But I'm not making no excuses for him. Make the kicks. No matter if the play happened or not, make the kick. So he made it when it counted. That's all I can tell you. And it didn't clank off the upright for him to make it either. All right. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Mr. Ron B, OG, triple OG. My guy, right? Lou, glad you left your bubble to enjoy a preseason game with your son. I'm glad I did too. If I was going to do it, it was definitely going to be in the preseason. I got my inspiration from Ed. Ed was like, man, if you're going to do it, the best time to do it is the preseason. It's not as hostile out there. It's not a bunch of crazies out there. It's pretty chill and sterile. And it was, take your kid out. He can have a good time. You ain't got to worry about him seeing people fighting, doing stupid shit. And that was the case. Part of me not wanting to take my son is trying to shield him from all of that. Eventually, as he gets older, he can get exposed to it, but he'll be older. I don't have to explain as much to him. He can understand what's going on. As a little kid, I don't want him to be traumatized going to a football game. Like, oh my God, they were acting like, cavemen there. I don't want to go there, because when people get in a fight, they're like, hey, stop the fight. There's a little kid right here. We don't give a shit about that. If they rumbling and your kid right there, he might get trampled, right? They don't give a shit. They drunk. They don't know if the kid's there. They don't care. So, just like how they was acting trying to get in that parking lot. I mean, one dude, I swear to you, one dude, I thought about getting out of my car, bro. Like, he saw my face and he looked at me and he realized, I stepped over the line. I was crazy, bro. I'm tripping. I'm sorry. He gonna give me the obligatory wave out there. And he kept the hand up for about 25 seconds. I don't want that shit. I got my son in the car, bro. You almost took my shit out doing some reckless, dumb shit just because you're trying to get into the damn parking lot for a preseason game. Then you about to make me act crazy in front of my son. And then I don't need that, right? But it's all good. I was able to leave my house and we were able to have a damn good time, right? Despite all of that nonsense, the shenanigans of trying to get to the damn parking lot. It's a great time, man. So I'm glad it happened. He says, he was right about one thing. The wave gets in the way of watching the game. I refuse to do it Please stop doing the wave. That from OG, triple OG, Mr. Ron B. I don't disagree with that. And here's my thing with the wave. Okay. That feels like a preseason thing, right? Like you can do the wave in a preseason game. Because that's the type of fan that's there in the preseason, I believe. Like, shout out to the guy that was sitting in front of us. You probably could hear him throughout the vlog, but this guy, he clearly, and he's a fan of the team. And and you probably know a fan like this. You've been around, you went to a game, you've sat around fans like this. You hear a lot of shit at these games, right? I'm walking into the building with my son. I'll give you a couple of examples. One, I'm walking into the building with my son, and it's like a group of Commanders fans standing outside down the steps as we're walking up to try to go inside. And he's like, all right, I'm about to test your knowledge, see how real of a Commanders fan you are. What's your favorite Sean Taylor highlight? And I'm just like, come on, son, let's go. Let's get away from these people. So we get to our seat, and the guy in front of us, older guy, he's like, so Tress Way didn't kick last night, and they try to keep him from having to kick. That's why they signed Hawk, right, to come in here and kick. So Hawk was kicking all last night, 38, and so Hawk punts the football, and Darius Rush goes down, makes a great tackle, and the guy turns around and says, hey, to my son, we have the best punter in the league. And my son's like, yeah, I know. Which my son don't know that. And I'm like, why is he bringing up Tress Way tonight? And Tress is not playing. Because he thought that was Tress Way. Anyway, the wave. But I only brought that up to say that's the kind of fan that you catch at a preseason game. And it was a bunch of Dolphins fans there that are just happy that they could see their team. Anyway, wave breaks out, cool. And I'm pretty sure they probably do them at regular season games. I don't go, so I can't say, but the wave is a thing that happens at an event, a sporting event. Usually when you get bored. If you locked into the game, you ain't thinking about no damn wave. But it's cool to do the wave once, twice, maybe even 3 times. I feel like 3 is a bit excessive, but okay, right? Like, you're into it, cool. After the 3rd time, everybody sit your monkey ass down. Stop. That's enough. Okay? Okay, you had your fun. You did it 3 times. Let's chill now. There's a game going on. Let's watch the football game. Sit down in your seat. All right? TV timeout. They're going away for a couple minutes. You want to do the wave, knock yourself out. The TV timeout is over. The official is in his spot. They're about to snap the ball. Sit your ass down. And my son was like, all right, how many times is this wave? Bro, they did the wave like 20 times in a row. My son was like, hey, how many times are they going to do this? I'm like, son, you don't have to participate. He's like, yeah, but they keep doing it and it's distracting me. I'm trying to watch the game. And my son's 7, so like the attention span, like he can't just focus if all of this wave shit is coming. And then at some point he's going to be looking like, it's coming, Dad, it's coming. Like, hey, son, just watch the game. Dad, it's coming, the wave, it's coming. Like he can't help himself. Like, stop doing the wave. I agree. What are we doing? All right, you want to do the wave? Fine. Once, twice. All right. Yeah, you got it out of your system. You got the wave out of your system. We don't need to do it 20 times, people. We don't need to do it 20 times. Crazy. Pure craziness. Off to another world. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Protect our kicker. Aubrey kicks at 45% in Northwest Stadium. Now, you remember, I think Aubrey's had like 2 kicks blocked here too. So that has contributed to his percentage being a little bit lower here. He had 1 kick block for sure, and then I think he banged one up off the upright. So he doesn't kick as well here, but he's still a weapon nonetheless. But I wanted to see Drew Stevens kick one of those bombs. Like, we had a chance at a 58, 59 yarder, and we definitely had a chance at a 62, and DQ turned down both of them. And I wanted somebody to ask him after the game. I tried to get Candy. Candy ain't going to ask him that. And she probably shouldn't ask him that. I should have hit up Ben Standing like, yo, Ben, won't you ask DQ after the game why he ain't try one of them field goals? Because Ben will ask that shit. Ben will ask the ignorant. He don't care. He'll ask the ignorant questions. So somebody needed to ask him why he didn't try. It's a preseason game. It's funny because DQ, he talked all that talk about preseason like it don't matter. He don't care. Like, it's preseason. And then you get in the game and all of a sudden now he don't want to try shit. You say this is the time to try shit. And you want guys to make mistakes. Let the kicker make a mistake then. But then I get it. Kickers are a little bit more fragile and delicate. And I think, like I've already told you, why he's doing that. You don't, there's two reasons, right? Either of them could be true. Both could be true. But you don't want to expose him to a fan base that is scarred with a miss first. Even if it's a long kick, people don't care. And then two, he misses that kick and then he could spiral because you send him out there on a, crazy mission. Like, I don't want to say it's a kamikaze mission because he's capable of making the kick, but it also could turn into a kamikaze mission if he misses. So anyway, I digress. Command OGJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, shout out to Josh for money for the new sound system for the stadium on its last legs. Also, money for free banded H2O bottles at camp. An owner who reinvests in us. I agree. Like, the sound system is way better because my son, he hates loud noises. And when it gets to third down, he's like, it's third down. My son's like, what does he have to be so loud? I'm like, son, it's third down. It's a big down. The defense gets a stop. They get the ball back. He's like, I don't care about none of that. He ain't got to do that third down shit so loud. So that was, I got a kick out of that. I love how he says Dolphins. He's always said Dolphins like that. So anytime I can get him to say the word Dolphins, I do, just so I can get a little chuckle out of it. But he definitely has, like I said, earlier, he's definitely invested in the stadium. And look, there's only so much you can do, but the things that he could do to improve the feel, the experience, and the vibes, he's done that, right? The aesthetics, there's only so much you can do, but everything else around it you can control. He's invested in it, and you gotta give him credit for that, man. You gotta give him credit for that. I feel like I can only imagine, how hard they're gonna go in on this new stadium because of how they invested in this old one. And look, we still got to play here for another 4 years. The new stadium ain't gonna be ready till 2030. So, while it's on its last legs, you still got to play some meaningful football here for the next, almost 5 years. So, Bradley Roche, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I'm way behind, but I was thinking when you were talking about Tome, maybe they were saving him like they did with Terry, not trying to show the Eagles what we got. Maybe you're right. That could absolutely be it, because I was appalled and dismayed at the fact that they had this man on the sideline, like I said in the vlog, they was treating my man Tones like he was a 9th round pick, bro. And I get it. You got Traylon Burks and De'Ami Brown and Luke McCaffrey and all those boys out there first. Jalen Lane was here last year, so he's ahead of him technically. Like, but what we doing, man? Like, soon as them boys came out, if you didn't want them to start, fine. Soon as them boys came out, and they was only out there for the first possession, if I'm not mistaken. Soon as them boys come out, Antonio should have been going in. I'm seeing everybody and their mama in there, and Antonio just waiting, and he pacing, and he jumping, and he running 4 routes, and You know, he catching footballs on the side and he doing everything. Everything just to stay ready, stay loose. And he finally get out there and he barely got targeted. An inaccurate throw from Sam on a ball in the first possession of the third quarter. He threw it into double coverage back in the end zone, and then he had his one catch. Like he and again, you would have thought that they made a concerted effort to get Jalen Lane the football. You would have thought they were going to do the same thing for Antonio Williams. He ran a couple outs wide open, you know, a couple stops wide open. They won't check him for him. And it's not like on those plays they didn't find someone else open, because they did. But you would think they would just say, hey, let's get the rookie involved. But you could be right. They could be hiding him. They could be hiding him. But if you're hiding him, you wouldn't put him on the field at all. Just don't put him out there. Like, they didn't put Terry out there at all. They hid behind, oh, he's got a tailbone injury. Like, I remember that like it was yesterday with Terry. Oh, he's got a tailbone injury, you know, and all the while, Jay was ready to unleash this man. And they didn't want him out there because he knew Terry was a third-round pick. Nobody was checking for Terry, and he knew he had something on his hands. This feels a lot different than that, but because Terry was our number one that year. Antonio Williams ain't going to be out. He's nowhere near the top of the food chain here. So I don't know. It could just be me. You could be right, and they could absolutely be hiding him, but I don't think that's what's happening. If we being honest with one another, I don't think that's what's happening. But I'm all for not showing the Eagles what we got, because whether he's getting the ball in the preseason or not, he's a part of the game plan week 1 against Philadelphia. I believe that. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Will ND Irish, thank you for being a member for 19 months, who writes, any chance Golbin passes Good Jones on the depth chart? No, I don't think so. I'd have to watch Good Jones or Golbin in the next preseason game, because I think Allegretti is back by the next preseason game. I think, because remember, we're getting the update on Allegretti, John Bates, Trey Amos, Marcus Mariota, maybe even Dietrich Wise. We're going to get an update on a lot of guys tomorrow, DQ said. So there's a chance that Allegretti's back for the dress rehearsal, which is the week 2 game where Jaden will be out there against Detroit. And if that happens, then that pushes Good Jones back to the second string. And then that pushes Golbin back to the third string. And then, you know, I still think it ultimately leads to Golbin playing a good chunk of the second half in that second preseason game. And he's going to play basically all of the third preseason game. I just don't think they're confident in a rookie center coming in. And again, Golbin has only been playing center for 2 years. This is his second year. Remember, this was a guard at Wake Forest and made the switch over to center his last year in college at Michigan State. So it's not like this is a guy that has been playing center his entire collegiate career. So I don't think he's ready to pass up Julian Good-Jones on the depth chart, which is why I feel like you need to do something at center. But, you know, we'll see. Good-Jones didn't make an ass out of himself, which is what I wanted him to do. And I hate to say that, but I just wanted to force their hand. But he didn't do that. He was solid. You know, and solid doesn't move the needle one way or the other. It doesn't force you to do anything. It doesn't make you feel like you have to do something. So, no, I don't think Golbin passes him up on the Deppy. Mr. Glenwood, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, turnovers may not be forced, but they were created. How this scheme is known for pressure, fast, quick creating decisions and overthrows. So that was nice to see for once. The talent was equal, LOL. I agree with the fact that that's what this defensive scheme is supposed to produce. Like, would you love to have guys jumping routes like Kane Madrano did? Yeah. That would you like the interceptions to look that way? Honestly, I don't give a shit how they look. I don't care. Because what have we been told for years? Most interceptions come from tips and overthrows, right? That's what they were, overthrows, right? Bad throws, bad decisions, because guys were open. It's not like they were forcing the ball into double coverage. Guys were open, but they were just overthrowing it, airmailing it, right? To, safeties and linebackers. So this scheme is, but now let me just say this. It's not like one of the plays, the interceptions, the one to Quan Martin, absolutely there was pressure that was applied that forced the ball to be errant. Those other ones, there was no pressure. I don't think there was any pressure, not imminent pressure that forced those. It's just bad decisions, bad throws by quarterbacks, similar to Sam Hartman's, throw, right? But that's what this defense is supposed to do. And whether it's an overthrow, whether it's a bad decision because you were rushed, that's what this defense is supposed to create, and that's what we're looking to have happen. And like the guys did yesterday, because you could easily have those opportunities and you drop them. We need guys to catch the football. They did that in this game. We'd like to see that be the case come the start of the regular season. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come for this upcoming season. MC Saba, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. MC Saba writes, felt so much better this game than last preseason. Henry really did shine. Yes, he did. I heard Fred was okay, just a cramp. If Mariota is out, what should the team do? I hope you're right about Fred. I hope you're right about Fred. That ain't look like no damn cramp to me. Like, I ain't never seen a dude have to be carted off the field, writhing in pain and crying because of a cramp. We've all had cramps before, and bad ones at that. I ain't never cried from a cramp. I ain't never had to be carted off because of no cramp. So I don't think that's a cramp, but I hope you're right. I would love to be wrong here. What if Mariota is out? What should the team do? Go get Jeff Driscoll. I'm pretty sure he's still available. You always got Jeff Driscoll out there. But this is different because, this is a different scheme. So you probably just have to go find a veteran, I would think. You can't be like, I always say, if you have aspirations of winning a Super Bowl, you need a Marcus Mariota, Mitchell Trubisky type backup quarterback, a Carson Wentz. You need one of them dudes. You can't be serious about trying to hoist the Lombardi and Ethan Caliat-Manis or Sam Hartman as your backup quarterback. You're not serious. You're an unserious contender. So you'd have to do something. You'd have to do something. Because you need a real veteran. Ant-Man, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ant-Man, double up, thank you for doubling up. Who writes, like you, Lou, I do feel like we still are a good team. I think we're gonna be a really good team this year. I do. Like the Tunzel injury sucks, man. We've talked about it. It sucks, bro. It alters this line significantly because you went from having a top 3 tackle and potentially Brandon Coleman winning that battle and having more athleticism up front, even though I love Chris Paul as a pass protector, to now Coleman, you've potentially weakened 2 spots. Who knows what Coleman would have done at left guard? We won't know now because he's got to play left tackle. And we know he's not better than Tunzel. So you might have just weakened 2 spots in doing that. But even with that said, this offense has immense potential with the weapons that they have, with Jaden Daniels, with Terry McLaurin, with Stephon Diggs, with Bill, with Rashad White, with Chig. John Bates is another blocking option that can catch, and Senate, good to see Senate touching the football, called a little over route, called a little boot action leaking across the field. It's a lot of weapons, man. And Jaden doesn't have to do it himself. He can get the ball out to guys who can make things happen, run after catch. So I think we're going to be a good team. And defensively, just don't be as bad as you were last year. And again, talent-wise, it feels like we are light years ahead of where we've been over the last. Again, 2020 is the last time you got to go back to a season where we had havoc-wreaking, turnover-inducing defense that impacted games. We won games because of that defense in 2020. Offense wasn't shit. We won 2 games 15-13. Like, what are the odds? How many 15-13 games have you seen in your life outside of the 2020 season? Now, okay, I'll take it a step further. How many Commanders games have you seen with the final score of 15? Was it 15-13 or 17-15? I think it was 17-15. I mean, how many games have you seen 17-15? Like, what? Yeah. Defense was at a high level in 2020. I'd love to get back there this year, if at all possible. Off to another world. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Off to another world, right? Sorry about the name spelling, Louie. It's all good, bro. It's not a big deal, but it's a deal. But it's not a big one. Like, people spell my name with the S all the time. It is what it is. I'm not tripping about it. But if I can verbalize it to you, like I always tell people, when I'm messing their name up and they let me mess it up for years before they say something like, why did you let me do that for so long? If I'm messing it up, say something to me so I can fix it, right? People don't know unless you say something, right? Wrath of God, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Totally agree as usual. Shot total best on defense. Wish 14 got more targets. Styles and Davis don't belong in the same sentence. Amen to that. AK was okay. Jay-Z has to go. That about sums it up. AK was okay. I thought he was a bit better than okay, but he did have the 2 sacks. And I felt like what put a damper on his day was that his drives didn't produce points. And when you don't produce points, it's easy for people to just sweep your performance under the rug. Had his first drive went down the field and gotten a touchdown scored, you'd feel a lot different about it. And Jacoby Jones flat out dropped the damn football. Like, that's a perfectly thrown ball. And if he catches that football, that drive that's a 3rd and long conversion that should have happened. And then he starts the game 3 of 3 for however many yards, right? And he's feeling good. He's in a rhythm. We're in Dolphins territory at that point. Who knows what that drive becomes? But we never got to see it. And then he gets sacked on the next possession, 2 runs. And then at that point, they got to that point. Now you're starting to get into that point of the game where you're like, all right, let's just get out of here. So for the opportunities that he got, I thought he made the most of them. And he was accurate. He was decisive. I like what I saw from him. Johnny Newton's going to have to play better. I don't think he has to go because we haven't really seen them fully unlock this defense to where, all right, they're doing all of the different games up front, all of the twists and stunts. They're getting exotic. They're confusing quarterbacks, and Johnny ain't a part of none of this shit. He ain't doing nothing that is impacting it. Then, okay. But until then, I think we got to at least give him a shot. At least give him a shot. Off to another world. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I I have no idea what IAHU is. What is that abbreviation for? Your son would love the pregame. Dope. I bet he would have. I wanted to get there so much earlier, and that was my intention, to get there nice and early. And we would have gotten there in enough time. Like initially, we had to stop for gas, and I had to stop to get something to eat because, you know, they don't have any real vegan options at the stadium. So I was starving. I hadn't eaten all day. So I picked up, my wife ordered me a couple of kava wraps, picked those up. We had to stop for gas. So that cost us about 15 minutes. But even with that said, we were supposed to get there at 6:27. Plenty of time to catch the pregame. And I'm thinking, you know, in my mind, I'm like, I know I have to count for, you know, the travel time isn't accounting for parking, right? And I don't know why in my feeble mind, I thought that because I was in a lot, it wasn't going to be this madness, you know. The gyps set me up because while it probably took me the route that would get me to the parking lot the fastest, it also took me down a death trap. The worst way that you can go trying to get to Gold Parking Lot D, which is down Sean Taylor Road, is coming up the one street that I was on. I want to say it was Sheriff, because then you have to turn onto Sean Taylor Road. That is the worst thing that you have to do. I'd rather be coming from the other direction where you're coming straight down the damn street, down Sean Taylor Road, because you ain't got to turn. You can just bully your way straight. Just keep straight. You ain't got to try to turn. You ain't got to do all this weird shit. And then the bad part about coming down Sheriff is it's one lane. Dudes was creating lanes and doing crazy shit. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Or else we would have just left earlier to avoid. And I still had other things that I had to do. So, like, I don't know if we could have gotten there much earlier, because the plan was to get there a little bit earlier, but I had other things, obligations that I had to take care of that were going to stop me from getting there as early as I would have liked to have gotten there. But I know for a fact the next time we do this, we're leaving super early. I'd rather get there and the sprinklers are still on and the only people out on the field is the grounds crew than have to deal with that again. So, yeah. I wish he could have seen the pregame. I bet with all of the imagery and the, you know, just I showed you, you know, in the blog, him watching the video monitor when they were doing the montage of the spear and all of the gladiator imagery. He was just like, so I imagine that on steroids with the fireworks and the lights, you know, and all that. He would have loved it. He'd have loved it. Now, if it's too loud, and it might be pretty loud, he might not have loved it. He'd be like, oh God, it's too loud. I don't know. I wanted him to see the pregame. I really did. That's where I struck out. I feel like I struck out there. That was my fault. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. OG, triple OG. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Lou, the wave ain't ever cool. Stop it, people. Hands up. You got me. I'm not advocating for the wave. I just know people like to do it sometimes as a way to, you know, keep them awake, you know, get your legs moving. You're sitting there for, you know, hours at a time if you're not going up to the concession or the bathroom. And so it's a way to just keep the blood circulating, whatever. I agree. The wave is dumb, but okay, you want to do the wave? I'm not a party pooper. You don't need to do it 20 times though. Okay. At some point, responsible adults have to be like, all right, don't nobody up in this section get the hell up. Don't nobody get up. We gonna kill this shit right here. But that didn't happen. They went around, they was going around that bitch like a NASCAR track. Just 20 times is crazy. Son is like, all right, what we doing now? After like the 5th time, he was like, all right, bro, what we doing now? Son was fed up. Lang Hughes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Lang Hughes writes, I've seen national people question JD focus on the season. Meanwhile, he's having his best camp, always laser focused. People have no idea what's going on here, which is why you don't engage in conversations with those people. There's so many of the people that are supposed to be in the know have no clue. And how could they? Like, be honest with yourself. If you're an NFL insider or you're someone that is a talking head, a former player, unless you used to play for that team and you're still connected, you have no idea. You have no idea what's going on. You're not out at Washington's camp. You don't have somebody there that you know, that you trust, that you talk to on a consistent basis, funneling you information. You can't know what's going on in all 32 teams' training camps. You can't. You can't. So you go off of what you hear, right? What you see. Oh, he can't be focused. He's worried about NIL at LSU. Just dumb shit, right? Like, whatever, bro. Like, don't engage. I always tell people, like, I know, like, Rio was so, I don't want to say pissed is the word. He was just annoyed. That's the right word. He was super annoyed by the whole Jaden story that came out on Thursday. Super annoyed because he's like, oh my God, this is all they're going to talk about. It's going to be all over social media. This shit trending, and it was everywhere. He was right. It was everywhere. And I said, Rio, why do you care? I don't care, bro. But Rio being on social media streets is a difference. I don't. The only reason I even knew about this shit is because the Kings put it in the group text. I would not have known. I would have been ignorant to all of this shit. Because I don't watch ESPN. I don't be on social media for real. Y'all know that. Because it ain't shit up there that I need. I go on social media for entertainment purposes. Sometimes for information. But for the most part, for entertainment purposes. When I want to laugh, when I want to, see something and be entertained, that's when I hit social media. But people get paid to have an opinion on shit that they don't know anything about. Why do I care what you think about my quarterback? And the interpretation of some of this stuff is crazy. I'm good. You got more comparisons to Robert Griffin because they waiting for this man to fail. They want to compare him to Robert Griffin III so bad. I'm not engaging in that bullshit, bro. Like you said, man is having the best camp of his life. He's locked in. He's ready for one of the best seasons we've seen from a quarterback here in Washington ever. Ain't nothing stopping that. Ain't nothing stopping that. If he's healthy, obviously. That's the only thing that could stop it. But if the man is healthy, he's finna run through the league like a damn Cat 6 hurricane, bro. Tornado. Storm. I don't even know if the shit go to 6. Thinking, what is it, 5? Does it go to 6? It might be 5. Well, we creating numbers over here. Matter of fact, he a 5. He wear 5. Cat 5. Since everybody want to joke about 5. Lang Hughes. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? They're more focused on A-Dub getting one work in joints. Well, it's easier to focus on draft picks than, anything else. So, I mean, it is what it is. Ultimately, I would just say I was disappointed in the amount of targets he got in the preseason game. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All I can tell you is don't engage. Don't engage. When you see stuff like that, keep it pushing, bro. Unless you have the bandwidth for it. If you got the bandwidth and you can sit there and that's right up your alley, knock yourself out. Yoshi, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Yoshi writes, man, I was wondering where the post-game live was ready to be negative. Glad you had a beautiful day, Lou. I knew you were waiting. You were waiting like, oh, shit. It's happening. Louie falling off. Nah, bro. I'm trying to do a better job of, now that my kids are getting older, having a better work-life balance. You know, so often I throw myself into work. I love it. And I don't consider it work. I love this. I love talking to y'all. I love talking about this team. I love talking about football in general. You know how I get about football, period. Like tomorrow, I'm probably going to come back up here, not to talk about this team, just to talk about all the preseason football. Josh Allen threw a touchdown in the new, Newmark Stadium in Buffalo, right? Jackson Dart got knocked out of a preseason game, came back in and threw a touchdown pass. Like, I love football. I just want to talk about football. So I can easily, immerse myself in this and lose sight of the kids growing up. And I know how fast it can happen. You blink twice and you've got a senior in high school and you're like, where did the time go? And you didn't spend enough of it with your kid. And I just don't want to be that way. You know what I mean? So I'm making a concerted effort to, be there for my kid, like present, like I'm here with my son, but be present. I know so many dads, so many of my friends grew up with dads that were in their lives, but they weren't present. They were always working. They didn't show up for baseball games and they weren't there in the stands for the football game or the basketball game, but he provided, but he was never actually there. And I can't be that kind of dad. I have to be present. You know what I mean? So I have to remind myself, it's okay. It's okay to miss this or miss that because I was with my family, with my son, with my daughter, with my wife. It's okay. That's a mental hurdle that I'm working on. I'm being fully transparent, but it's okay. And yesterday was like great positive reinforcement on that. Like I had such a great day with my son and I know he did too. And he told me that a million times. And that felt so good to hear him talk about how great of a day he had, spending it with his dad. Like that made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So that's the kind of positive reinforcement that I needed to do it again. Right. So I'm glad that I was able to share that with y'all too. You know what I mean? Because he knows what I do and he likes to try to be a part of it. And I've let him do it here and there. Like he was with me for the Detroit game. He watched that game with me. So if you watched that game with me live, he was there with me. So every now and again, I let him pop his head in. But now he actually plays football. So he's into it a little bit more now because he plays. So you may see him a little bit more. Who knows? Lang Hughes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Lang Hughes writes, Standing reported Davis had a full body cramp. Oh, really? A full body cramp is crazy. When he was carted off, it didn't look like any other part of his body was ailing him. And when he was on the ground, he was writhing in pain and he was grasping at his knee. So that didn't give me full body cramp vibes, but I'm no doctor and I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night. I pray that it was full body cramps. If that's what it was, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hell yeah. That would be the best news because I liked the way that young man was playing. Loved the way he was playing. So I hope you're right. And I hope Ben Standing is right. All right. IAHU. I ain't gonna hold you. Oh, okay. Where the G at then? Look, man, I told you I don't know none of these the acronyms, none of that. I don't know none of that shit, man. He says 61-year-old trying to act young. LOL. If you can make a night game, the pregame can be epic. I was told last year or 2 years ago by Rio and Ed in particular that they went to the Sunday night game against the Falcons and they was like, it was the best light show ever. And I would imagine some of those games last year were like that. We just weren't any good. Like the Bears game was a night game. The Broncos game was a night game. Jaden didn't play. Seahawks game, he did come back, but we got our asses whooped. But that doesn't stop the pregame from being fire, right? And dope. So I can only imagine that those were outstanding. I would love to see it. I know he would love to see it. So, yeah. It'd be really cool. And that was, I guess that wasn't technically a night game. It was 7:00, but it's the summertime. So 7:00 is plenty of light outside, but whatever. I wanted him to see whatever. I wanted him to see the team run out of the tunnel, the smoke, all of that stuff, So he'll get that full experience at some point. Mr. Rogers, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Uncle Jay. Right. When I go to the games, I leave at 6 a.m. to get there at 9:30 a.m. Anything after 7:30, I don't get there till 11:50. Zero room to decompress from the drive. I totally get it. I totally get it. There is this thing about DMV traffic that is so true. It is legit. We were 30 minutes away from, like, legitimately 30, 35 minutes away from the stadium, no traffic. The ride was with the traffic, it was supposed to take us an hour and 20. And what ended up happening is the ride took about an hour. I shaved off probably like 3-4 minutes, like an hour and 16 minutes. And then we sat in, literally, we are less than a quarter of a mile from the stadium. And that last quarter of a mile trying to turn onto Sean Taylor Road literally took us like 45 minutes. Went from, hey, we're going to get there about 6:30, park, walk to the stadium, have time to get you something to eat, be in our seats before they even run out of the tunnel. To, all right, we probably going to miss them running out to, out of the tunnel, but we'll be there in enough time for them to do the coin toss. To, okay, we might miss the coin toss, but we'll probably be there by the time they about to kick off. To, okay, probably going to miss kickoff, but we'll be out there. We might miss a few plays, but we'll be in the seat. To, all right, we might miss the first possession. Then my son was like, Dad, we're going to miss the whole first half. And I'm like, chill, bro, chill. Like, no, we're not going to miss the whole first half, son. Relax. Like, he's like, we're never going to get out of this traffic. And, it felt like it, though. I'm not mad at him. I'm like, son, is complaining going to help the situation? Is woe is me going to help us get out of this? No. Like, we're going to get out of this. Relax. He did the same thing when we were trying to find our car. Like, he's like, Dad, what if we're stuck here forever? We're never going to find a car. Like, relax, bro. We're going to find a car. Okay? Relax. We're going to find a car. Like, leaving early is mandatory because you already know what it's going to be traffic-wise. You already know. Leaving early is mandatory. I learned a valuable lesson. That I can say. Abel Ambrosio. My guy, Double A. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, when Lil LT said, if we stay healthy, we going to win it all, it got me hyped. He said, got me hyped up. He knows what he's talking about. Salute to you and him. Glad y'all had fun. The key is health, man. The key is health. I always tell him that because last year he was pissed because Jaden got hurt. Every time he's like, he's hurt again, Dad. What's going on? He was like tripping. And then, Jaden didn't play last night. So he was like, Dad, is he hurt again? I'm like, no. He's not hurt. And I had to explain to him the preseason because he was having a tough time understanding like preseason versus like a scrimmage because he's having his first scrimmage tomorrow. And I told him it was a practice game. But then I'm telling him that this preseason game is a practice game. And he's like, so it's a scrimmage? And I'm like, it's not quite a scrimmage. It's more of a practice game. He's like, well, you told me that's what a scrimmage was a practice game. And I'm like, yeah. So then I had to get into more specific details to try to explain to him. So it was a lot. He's learning, man. And one thing I can say about my son is he's a quick study. He learns very quickly. You tell him something once and he's got it. So, I was able to explain it to him, but he was not trying to hear that Jaden shit. Like at first he was like, well, wait, where's 5, bro? Why am I seeing 15 out here? Who is this guy? Abel Ambrosio, my guy, Double A, been a member for 45. Hey, we here with it. 45 months. Salute to you. Who writes, Lou said thank you. Next on he says, Lou said thank you next on season tickets. They tried to get me. On the season tickets. I think he was trying to say I said no thank you. They was trying to get me. I don't like being tricked. Okay. I don't like being tricked into doing something. They tried to bamboozle us. Oh, you won a prize. Come collect it. I should have known better. Like, you just put some random, like, if you really giving out a prize, you wouldn't put it on the back of a seat because anybody could then take it off of the seat and say, nah, I won this prize. If you legitimately won a prize, you give it to somebody based off of their seat, the ticket, so they can prove that this is their seat, this, that, and the third. I should have known better. Like Monica, I should have known better. I should have known better, but it's all good. As soon as I saw what they was up to, they had calculators out and shit, punching the numbers like, hey, your payment can be. I was like, come on, son, walk right on by. No hesitation. Didn't even break stride. JK, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Styles, I'm worried about a few things on film. Don't be. Was it perfect? Nope. But there wasn't enough film for you to be worried about. Now, if you're talking about from college, okay, I'm listening. But if you're talking about from the game, it ain't really no conversation to be had. It really ain't no conversation to be had. Off to another world. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Off to another world. Writes, season ticket holder / gold member for what it's worth. Used to send Juan Gotti, but he VIP now. LOL. Let me know. I have 2 sons. I can relate, boss. Got you. I appreciate that. I will keep that in mind. If I ever decide that I want to go, I will let you know for sure. I told myself I'm gonna get my life together because I want season tickets by the time. Because remember, I used to have season tickets and I used to give them away to the mob for the home games. I want to get season tickets again by the time the new stadium rolls around. I want to all, because I know you can probably see a spike in the amount of season tickets that are bought. If this team win big, win the Super Bowl, season tickets going to go through the roof. You might get back to where we were when there was a waiting list for them. I would have to get in before that because I want season tickets. I want season tickets. So, I want to see what happens. You know, it ain't like you get grandfathered in or anything. If the season ticket prices go up, even if you were already a season ticket holder, you're going to pay more. So it ain't even about like get in before the prices go up. The prices go up, you paying them rates. There's no advantage to being a season ticket holder prior to, you know, ticket prices hiking. So that's why I'm just waiting. But eventually I'm gonna pull the trigger, I think. So, you know, we'll see. Anyway, I digress. That's gonna do it for me, your man Louie Tee, here on this breakdown of preseason game number 1 versus the Miami Dolphins. Commanders win 20-17. It wasn't all pretty. The score doesn't really indicate how sloppy of a game it was, especially for the Dolphins. The 3 turnovers, the drop passes, the 7 penalties that they had that attributed to them only scoring once. They went right down the field and scored a touchdown on their opening possession, did not score again. So that was a little bit troubling. Very slow start for the Commanders in this game, but they got it together and they were able to, you know, basically play good enough football, and really ultimately they made the fewer mistakes. That's what it boiled down to. Dolphins made more mistakes than they did, and that's what essentially put the Commanders in a position to win the game, and they did. And shout out to them for taking advantage of the mistakes that the Dolphins were making. You make an errant throw right to a defender, catch it. Don't drop it and then bury your head in the dirt and slap your hands together. Nah, catch that hoe, and they did. So got to give them credit for taking advantage of the opportunities that were presented to them. But gonna have to be sharper, obviously. But nice to see the Commanders come out, take advantage of some opportunities, see some of the young guys get some opportunities and make the most of those. And we're off and running now. Commanders back on your television screen, live and in color. Only home game of the preseason. You won't see these boys back at the crib until late September, when they'll take on the Super Bowl defending champions in week number 3. So get ready, saddle up. It's going to be a really interesting start to the season. Next week is the last time you'll see the starters until week 1. So this is a pretty big week because there's no joint practice. And the game is on Saturday at noon, if I'm not mistaken. So should be a lot of fun. Bart Scott, can't wait. But in any event, I talked your head off long enough on a Saturday. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will probably be back. I ain't gonna hold you. I'll probably be back tomorrow to talk about all of the football from yesterday that I didn't get to see because I was at the game, the football that happened today, and probably some games because I'm pretty sure there's 2 or 3 of them tomorrow. I might come back and chop it up with y'all tomorrow just because. But in any event, and the Commanders, I think they have practice tomorrow. We're supposed to hear from DQ tomorrow, so I think they have practice tomorrow. Camp is not over, by the way. So, and I got more tickets to give away. I think I got more tickets to give away. I'll see. I'll let y'all know. Either way, y'all have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, appreciate all the love, all the support, all of y'all that watched the vlog and commented, man. My son loved it. I showed him the comments. And he smiling ear to ear, man. He's like, I'm like you now, Dad. So shout out to everybody that supported. Really appreciate y'all, man. And look forward to chopping up with y'all next time. Until then, y'all take care. God bless. Peace.